All right. I'm Love Coach Scott Catamas, and we're very excited to have all of you with us. Greetings, greetings. And I see that we already have almost 300 people coming into our webinar room. So welcome, and we're about to start the show. As we look at these images, as we think about the extraordinary time in this world, we remember the beautiful line that we are the ones we've been waiting for. And this is the time we've been preparing for. Nobody knows for sure exactly what it truly means, how long it's going to last. But what we do know is we have each other. And so welcome to Saturday Night Live for the Global Peace Tribe. This is your chance, our chance to come together in community, where we're going to have music.
Let's walk together, take my hand and we will heal this land.
Inspirational speakers.
Recreate, reimagine, renew, relook, respect, and regenerate.
Wisdom jewels.
Let yourself become intolerant of apathy, intolerant of injustice. Let yourself become intolerant of ignorance.
And even some comedy.
With all of this light energy, not only will you be able to heal souls, but I bet you'll be able to re-soul heals.
And some magic.
Are you ready? Here we go. Let's count to three. Everybody, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Solved. Yes.
Recognizing that the greatest magic is how we can all be together, no matter where we are geographically, sharing in the universal language of love and music.
With all things I am one. With all things I am one.
And learning from these extraordinary speakers coming into our show.
We are the imaginal cells connecting right now, and they find a new way of connecting. Well, maybe we're not connecting out on the streets and we're not connecting at big concerts, but we are connecting through the globe right now. There are people all over this world in this moment together, this moment when we are beginning to awaken in the chrysalis to who we are becoming.
Thank you for joining us. The show is just about to begin.
With all things I am one. 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 With all things I am one.
Welcome, everybody. And we have such an amazing show tonight. You know, each week is so special. When people ask, what are we? I like to say we are an inspirational variety show. And during this extraordinary time, there's nothing like inspiration from music and the speakers you're going to hear from today. I want to welcome, we have 365 people in our webinar room and thousands watching on Facebook. For those of you in the webinar room, please use the chat box and tell us your name and where you're from. It's really fun to see where people are from. And the chat box you can find usually if you go down and take a look. And we also going to be sending lots of messages to the chat box. The last thing I want to just say is we have a wonderful, ever-growing set of partners. And we're really excited that this is the first time that our show is being carried by Awake TV. And we're really excited about our growing partnership with them. We'll tell you a little bit more about them later on in the show. And now it's my pleasure to turn it over to the woman who works very hard to make this happen. My partner in Saturday Night Live for the Global Peace Tribe, Debra Giusti.
Thank you so much, and with such a heartful welcome to the show, which is going to be amazing again, with incredible top speakers, musicians, comedians. It's definitely an evolutionary variety show that's coming to you in this very challenging time, but we believe very evolutionary times. We believe it's so important for us to come together and still affirm a positive reality through all this. A lot of us believe we are in a cocoon that we've all come for, and we're a part of a major shift that's happening. And the more we can come together in heart and spirit and affirm the positive values and the positive evolutionary concepts that we live by and want to move forward, this is going to be important for everyone. It is every week. And so we thank you so much for being with us. And this is our 7th show that we've done, and it's gone to the next level every single time. And this week, we're so proud to have as sacred activists, because our theme is sacred activism, follow your heart. We're going to have Marianne Williamson. We're having Andrew Harvey, who coined the phrase sacred activism, John Robinson, who began very early on in his career, Nina Simons of Bioneers, founder of Bioneers, and some incredible musicians, Larissa Stowe, Matthew Human, and Sasha Rose, who are all sacred activists, as well as comedians, Alicia Dotner and Raina Satori, and many other people who are all wisdom keepers who are going to share their wisdom jewels with you tonight. And when we say sacred activism, follow your heart, we're not just talking about these amazing people that are on the show right now. We're talking about you. We're talking about me. We're talking about everyone. This is really the time to step up, if any other time on the planet. And sacred activism is that divine mission passion that's in your heart, that you feel you're meant to do. And it can be anything that Spirit calls you to do, whether it's creating an emergency preparedness meeting in your neighborhood, or maybe it's just helping a homeless person, or maybe someone down the street that really needs help, or maybe it's just raising your children to be incredible leaders in the world. What we really feel is Spirit is calling us now. And as we're in this incubation period, in this cocoon, as we're really going within and finding out what we're meant to do and what we're meant to manifest in this next reality, sacred activism is a really key part to moving the world forward in a whole new way. And we have an amazing show coming up next week. We're going to do one more show, then we're going to take a breath and go forward and hopefully come back and do a whole new series. Next week, we're going to have Carolyn Mace. We're going to have Marcy Schmeinoff and JJ Hurtak. We're going to have the amazing Kirtan musician, Wah. We're going to have Elijah Ray back. We'll have some of our favorites back. But please come around for that next show that we're going to have next week. And we invite you to connect with friends. We're going to put links in the chat room on how you can still invite them to Zoom. And please feel free to chat in the Zoom room. And stay around for the end, where we have community connections, where you can actually come on the gallery and give your 1-minute wisdom jewel of what you feel is so important to share at this time, or what your sacred activism calling is. And we operate this show in the principle of new paradigms on many levels. And that includes using the gifting economy. So we're giving this show to you as a gift. And we request that you give back to us at whatever level you feel your heart calls. And we take that income, that green energy, we use it for producing the show in the future, but we also redistribute it to nonprofits that are really helping on the front lines. And we've been able, because of your amazing donations, to give away thousands of dollars. So we appreciate that. And right now, I'd like to invite my other partner, Ken Kaufman, who produces the New Living Expo every year in April. He wasn't able to do his show this year, but he's coming back in October to do an incredible show, and he's helping us produce this show for you. And he's helping us to find those nonprofits that can really help at this time to give back to us and support our community. So Ken, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Scott and Debra, and everyone who's logged on so far. It's going to be thousands of people. We so appreciate you taking the time out tonight and enjoying something different. If you haven't been with us before, you're in for a great surprise. We are so honored to have a legendary like Marianne Williamson with us. And that's when we remind everyone, she's going to be one of our keynote speakers for the show on 10/10/2020 weekend. Also with her, we're going to have Michael Beckwith and John Gray, who was on one of our shows a few weeks ago, and David Wilcock. Just going to be a great lineup. And if you want to get, just for this month's special, a 20% discount on tickets, you just put in NLE20 in our Eventbrite link on our ticket page, and you'll get 20% off any ticket of any kind throughout the end of this month. And my share about activism is that I'm thinking that every healthcare worker on the front line is in their own right a healthcare worker. I mean, in an activist, because they're taking their risk of their lives like activists do. And they're just making such a great, I mean, they're saving lots of lives and doing some great work. So that's my part. And we'll be back to talk about more nonprofits later on. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ken. All right. So let's get the show going. And we always like to start with music. And I'm really excited about who we have with us. We have Larissa Stowe and a couple of her friends with her. Welcome.
Hello. Hello, Scott. Hello, everyone. We're so grateful to be here with you and to be a part of this show that's about sacred activism. And for me, sacred activism means that we are for something that we care about, that it's about love, and it's about really standing up for what we passionately care about in life, rather than being against something. So it's about raising our vibration and reaching out our hands and sharing our hearts. And Gandhi, this is one of my favorite examples, is that in South Africa, when there was this oppression against the Indians, Gandhi made friends with the Prime Minister, General Smuts, who was at the time about oppression of the Indians, and he would not give up with showing up and having conversations that came from a place of love and bridging friendship with General Smuts. And eventually General Smuts changed his mind and dropped his thinking and dropped into his heart. And when he was asked how Gandhi changed his mind, he said, "He didn't change my mind, he changed my heart." And that's what I think of as sacred activism. It's heart work, it's love work. And in that, we sing,
I need my mic.
The Peacemakers. Get his mic. Tap on our hearts. Yeah, yeah. Oh, hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Love, 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 love. You're enemy. Love, 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 love. You're enemy. Yeah, yeah. You good, 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 good to those who hurt you. Do good, 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 good to those who hurt you. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
We shall be the peacemakers.
We shall be the peacemakers.
We shall be called
We shall be called
children of God.
children of God.
Children of God. you all. What does it mean to really be a peacemaker in this world? Does it mean putting our ideas out there and being so into what we believe that we can't hear what others are saying? Or does it mean that we can become even more curious, like filled with wonder, trying to understand, trying to connect and understand someone else's suffering or their pain? And if we can do that, then we can begin to build bridges if we come from curiosity. And if we do that, then together we are evolving consciousness. And it goes like this. Love, 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 till there is no end of me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, 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 till there is no end of me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do good, 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 till goodness becomes you. Do good, 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 till goodness becomes you. Yeah,
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 yeah.
we shall be the peacemakers.
We shall be the peacemakers.
We shall
We
become
shall become
the children of love. The children of
Wow. Absolutely. Wow. Thank you so much. That was just a perfect way to get started. We're going to hear more from Larissa and Benji and her drummer. Well, let you, Christo. We're going to hear more from them a little bit later on in the show. I'm going to turn it over to Kenny, Kenny and Debra are going to introduce our featured speaker tonight.
Thank you. And Marianne, I just want to tell you, thank you for joining us tonight. You've been on a wish list for many months that we've been doing this. So,
well, I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's just a great honor. And I'm going to just turn it over to Debra and let you do a formal introduction for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow. There was so much to say to honor this very special woman who epitomizes sacred activism. For 10 decades, she has been known as a spiritual thought leader, best-selling author, political activist, but she is truly someone that has put her passion into action. And just a few things that Marianne has done. She has founded in 1989, the Project Angel Food, where she has delivered more than 12 million meals to ill and dying homebound patients around the world. She co-founded in 2004 the Peace Alliance that supports a creation of the U.S. Department of Peace. And if that wasn't enough, she took deep action and went into politics. Not only did she run for Congress in 2014, she went deep into the trenches and ran for president, if you can imagine what that journey was like. And she did that because she knew there is extreme dysfunction in the core of our politics, in the core of our government. And she became our voice to point out what's needed in terms of holistic politics, that you just can't fix one thing here and one thing there. It's a whole systems, which we know in our holistic healing and our spirituality and everything we've been in. And if you can imagine what she's been through, we are so thrilled to honor her. She brought up topics like the reparations for slavery, which is a really touchy thing that most politicians won't touch. And she's speaking the truth of core dysfunction. And because she's our voice, I am so happy to have her here with you now. So Marianne, thank you so much. And with
Thank
so
you.
much love, I present Marianne Williamson.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Debra, for that very generous introduction. And it's just exciting. As I said before, it's an honor and it's a lot of fun to be here with old friends like Andrew and John and Ken and all of you. So thank you so much. And I think what you're doing is so important. I'm reminded of a line in the Course in Miracles where it says that an idea grows stronger when it is shared. And as you said, Debra, at the very beginning, and many of the things that we're talking about here tonight are ideas that all of us already believe in. But as Andrew coined the phrase sacred activism, we have to take the sacred now and make it active. I've been saying for a long time that the era of data collection is over. I see that someone in the chat room is referring to my book, A Politics of Love, which certainly has to do with how we activate the sacred in terms of the world that we live in. The era of data collection is over in the sense that there's so much that we all already know now. And a lot of the spiritual principles that inform books that we've all read, tapes that we've all listened to, now it's time to apply these principles in deeper ways than we ever have before, and also in ways that go beyond the personal self. That's really what the evolutionary leap and challenge and invitation is as we move deeper into the 21st century. To take a lot of the principles that we're all already familiar with and expand our sense of their applicability, not only to how these principles affect my life, but how these principles affect the species, not only how we manifest the future that you want or that I want, but the future that is the only survivable, sustainable option for our children and our children's children and the human race as the 21st century unfolds. So some of the spiritual principles that I'd like to focus in on are the following. First of all, the universe is intentional. It is always moving in the direction of a greater good. That is the intelligence of the universe. The universe is driven by a divine intelligence or love. But free will means that in any given moment, we are choosing. Sometimes we choose consciously, sometimes we choose unconsciously, but we choose whether or not to align our thinking and our behavior with that divine intelligence that is always moving towards greater love. The universe is self-organizing behind that greater love and intention. That's why an embryo is already programmed to become a baby, and the bud is already programmed to become a blossom, and the acorn is already programmed to become an oak tree. Similarly, you and I are already programmed to become the highest, most creative manifestation of our potential in this life. However, free will means that unlike the acorn, unlike the embryo, and unlike the bud, you and I can say, no, don't want to. You and I can separate ourselves from that divine intelligence and think ways that are counter to it and behave in ways that are counter to it. But what is called in the East karma, what is called in the West cause and effect, means that all thought creates form. If I think with love, divine intelligence, co-create, meditate, pray, get my guidance from within, go out there to extend love, then that is what I will create in my life. And that applies not only to me, but it applies to us because we collectively co-create as well. On the other hand, if I decide not to, and I think without love, and I behave without love, that will create form too. And that will come back to me as well. So the healing is on the level of cause. God himself will not violate the principle that he created by changing the effect unless we're willing to change the cause. Now, what happens in the human body? To me, this is such a profound representation of this principle. Every cell in the body is guided by natural intelligence. Every cell in the body is guided to its full actualization, and within its full actualization, it is assigned. Some cells are assigned to the lungs. Some cells are assigned to the bones. Some cells are assigned to the heart. Some cells are assigned to the pancreas. But wherever the cell is assigned, it then collaborates with other cells, and together they serve the healthy functioning of the organ and the organism of which they're part. But every once in a while, for reasons that scientists understand to some extent, don't understand to some other extent, every once in a while, a cell disconnects from its natural intelligence, disconnects from that collaborative matrix that forms a healthy body, and instead goes off to do its own thing. Now, what do you call that? When a cell disconnects from its natural intelligence and goes off to build its own kingdom and bring other cells around it that are basically as disconnected from their natural intelligence as is the first one. That's called cancer. It's a malignancy. That is not only a malignancy, that separation from the collaborative nature of the divine order of things is not only a malignancy in the body, it is also a malignancy in consciousness. And that is what has happened to the human race. We have been infected by a malignant consciousness, and that malignancy is a thought. And that thought is, it's all about me. And so we have forgotten that as a human race, our natural intelligence flowing through us leads us to work together. None of us could have done this show tonight by ourselves. It's the collaboration that makes this show what it can be, not only in terms of Debra and Scott and all those who produced it, but also in terms of all those coming together to listen and to participate. That malignancy of consciousness, where all of us are separate, doing our own thing, rather than collaborating to create the healthy functioning of that which is bigger than any of us, that is where we stand as a human race right now. And that is our decision, which must be made. Everything that is happening right now with this pandemic, we don't know if
hopefully she's going to come right back. One of the things that we never quite know is going to happen is when there's going to be a technical issue. And so it appears that where Marianne is or was, she just got knocked off. But hopefully she's going to come right back. And what I think we'll do is, while we wait for Marianne to come back, I'm going to turn it over to our first wisdom jewel, Trathan, who does wonderful, wonderful work. And we're going to learn from so many of our people that are amazing, doing great work in the community, many of which we support. And I'm going to put the spotlight on you, Trathan, a little bit early. Hope you don't mind. But would love for you to adjust your camera so we can see more of you and less of the ceiling. Thank you. Yeah. And tell us all about what you do, because it's great work.
Yeah, actually, this weekend is the 18th anniversary of Daily Acts Organization's first sustainability program. And taking a sacred, reverence-centered approach to activism is definitely what has sustained me and our staff through all the years, and especially in a stormy world that seems to keep on getting stormier. And so a couple things that we do is really frequently recenter on our core values and our core operating principles. And there's 3 core values, and it's reverence, ripples, and relationships. And so for us, I've just consistently, it all starts with our heart as the operating principle, and returning again and again and again through the heartbreak, through the challenge, through the difficulty, just returning to our heart. Ripples is reclaiming the only power we have, and that's of our daily actions and how they ripple to live and share our inspiration and to recognize that we can transform ourselves, our homes, our gardens, our neighborhoods, even local policy and beyond by reclaiming the power of our individual and collective daily actions. And then the third is relationships. The operating principle is nurture community, because that's how nature sustains the web of life, is by creating and nurturing community. And so we've recently started a Be the Change campaign, which you could go to dailyacts.org if you want to be a part of or get resources. And there's 4 parts to the campaign. The first one is around gardening. So right now, getting your hands in the soil, because you could literally change the world in a garden. And then the second one is going to be around personal ecology and self-care, very much the sacred activism tonight. And the third and fourth areas are around conserving resources and getting civically engaged, because we really have to start with our heart, reclaim our power, and build the public and political will for transformative change. And so, I'll just close briefly with some words from Clarissa Pinkolay's Estes that I found about 18 years ago when I started Daily Acts. And she said, ours is not the task to change the entire world at once, but to stretch out and mend the part that is within our reach. Because when we find and share our light, something that affect, and we inspire others to do the same, that's how we catch light in ourselves and help other people catch light too. And that's how we can affect positive change in a stormy world. So thank you all so much. It's great to be here.
Thank you very much. And I'm actually going to put up a slide real quick that shows a little bit. And Trithan, tell us about these steps and how people can be more involved in Daily Acts.
Sure, we have a lot of resources right now around growing gardens, from a windowsill to a balcony to a permaculture food forest that's sequestering carbon and growing food, medicine, and wonder. And that's where, getting your hands in the soil and embodying our values and reconnecting to nature and community at a basic level. And then true to tonight of the self-care and personal ecology practices, like they say on a plane, you have to put your own oxygen mask on first. And so appreciating the show and just that reminder, and there's a lot of tools and practices people could do to sustain in the work. And then from there, we move out into saving resources and building civic engagement, getting involved in climate policy and all that good stuff.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And I love the word grace. Yogananda taught the greatest prayer is maximum grace. And Marianne Williamson reminds us of everyday grace. This is actually one of my favorite books that she's written. And in an act of everyday grace, Marianne is back with us. So welcome back, Marianne.
Thank you. I am so sorry that I dropped off. But anyway, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to conclude. What I was saying when I froze or dropped, whatever that was about the pandemic and this period that we're in. We don't know exactly where the virus came from, but whether it came from a lab or whether it came from a wet market, it came from a place in consciousness which had to do with a lack of reverence, either reverence for the planet, reverence for people, or whether reverence for animals. One of those was missing. We do not have a reverent economic system. We do not have a reverent healthcare system. We do not have a reverent political system. Rather, these systems which now guide public policies on this planet are without reverence for life, without moral or ethical responsibility to the people, to the planet, to the animals. And we are now reaping what we have sown. And so the universe is not only self-organizing in all the ways that I said before, it's also self-correcting. The body has an immune system. The psyche has an immune system, and civilization has an immune system. And you and I are the immune cells. So right now, as we think of ourselves as immune cells, that to me is what sacred activism is. Each and every one of us, through prayer, through meditation, through forgiveness, through spiritual practice, are guided, just as every cell is guided, one to the pancreas, one to the lungs, one to the heart. You and I are guided. Some of us will be guided to gardening that we just heard about. Some of us are guided to the music, to be a musician, as we just heard. Some are guided to be cells in education, some in business, Some in spirituality, and politics is our collective assignment. As we now work together, because no amount of personal charity, no amount of personal action is going to be enough to turn this ship around. We're going to have to collaborate now. And that's all that politics is. All that politics is, we should think of it as a sacred thing. You know, at the very beginning, we heard about Gandhi. Gandhi said that politics should be sacred because everything should be sacred. It should be a way that we come together as we're coming together tonight. And just as so often we visualize what we want for our lives, it's time now to visualize what we want for the planet. Just as we have these intentions for our lives, we should have an intention for the planet. Just as we manifest what we want in our own individual lives, it's time for us to expand all that and come together and make manifest a sustainable and survivable world. We do that through atoning for our lack of reverence, even though we might have ended individually, and I think most people are decent, good, dignified people, but we have not been thinking enough over the last few decades about the public policies that guide the collective and have an effect on millions and millions and even billions of people. It's not enough for us, particularly those of us who are Americans, to talk about how we want to be the peacemakers and sing about being the peacemakers when millions of people all over the world are looking at us and thinking, what are you thinking? When for the sake of a $360 billion arms sale to Saudi Arabia, you are participating in a genocidal war in Yemen. And so it's time for us to mature. And I believe that this is the time, that's what the meaning in many ways of this pandemic is, this crisis moment. All of us get to think more deeply. All of us get to reflect. All of us get to reset. And on the other side of this, my hope, my prayer, and I believe what all of the things that we're talking about here tonight, and such beautiful, this is such, you know, it was described at the beginning of the evening as a variety show. It's a kaleidoscope. One person coming with the music, and one person coming with, talking about the animals, as John will do, and the food. One person talking about sacred activism, as Andrew will do. This is a beautiful thing, but we have to do more than talk. On the other side of this, we need to get going. We need to recreate the world in which we live. And so I'm so grateful that this is a place where I can actually ask that you join with me. That's what we're doing here together, because we know that the most creative place is not just in the mind, but in the heart. And that has already been said here tonight as well. And so let's all take a deep breath and close our eyes. And see in the middle of our mind a little ball of golden light. And we watch this light as it expands and covers the entire inner vision of our mind. And into this golden light we step, standing in the presence and before the power of the great creator of all things. We atone in our hearts, not only on our own behalf, but on behalf of our nations and our world, for our lack of love. And in this moment, we are ready to begin again. And we pray for a great wave of forgiveness and purification to come upon all our minds and all our hearts. As we now gaze into a different and possible future in which all are fed, all are nurtured, and all are loved. And we dedicate ourselves to that vision, to that possibility, to that reality. We pray to be used in our own ways assigned, that our hands, our feet, our steps, our actions, our thoughts, all that we have and all that we are might be used for a great rebirth. It is for this that we were born. It is for this and to this that we dedicate the rest of our lives. And so it is. Amen. Thank you so much. It was an honor to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marianne.
Much love to you. God bless you.
So many comments coming in, people just so inspired.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We, as we
We
saw,
have
there's,
we want to present her everyday challenge.
that's right.
Got that PDF?
Yeah, I've got it right here. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, Marianne is still on it, sharing so much with the world. She's going to start a free 21-day challenge. And these are daily exercises, 4 downloadable meditations, 2 live Zoom calls with Marianne, and a private online forum for other participants in the challenge. And you'll learn how to integrate key spiritual principles into your daily life so they become just beautiful abstractions, but really tools for actually transforming our lives. And as Marianne said, this is a wonderful show, but it's not just about talk or being inspired. It's about action. And Marianne's also going to put on another show that we're going to promote thoroughly through my Debra Recommends and Harmony Connects towards the end of the month. So we really want to support her in continuing her work because she's amazing. And thank you so much, Marianne, for that incredible transmission and spiritual activation that you shared with us. Thank you.
We are going to see if Matthew Heunen is able to get his internet working. We're excited about having Matthew as a musician with us. So Matthew, if you can hear me, could you please turn on your camera and let us know if your internet is working well? Because that's, we did a sound check prior and he was having a little bit of an internet challenge. So, all right, you know what? In the flow of things, Sasha Rose, if you can hear me, I'm going to ask if we could switch over and have you play your first song. And hopefully we'll hear later from Matthew and he'll be okay. So we're going to kind of mix it up a little bit. And I hope you don't mind. Yeah, thank you, Sasha.
Yes, keep it fresh. So
Absolutely.
I wanted to just speak to sacred activism from my heart as far as what it is for me. It's very much a day-to-day, just the feeling of service, the feeling of what we do that gives us the most joy, and following our heart, following our bliss, following our path. And for me, it's music. And now I also have a baby girl, so my sacred activism is very much geared towards creating a beautiful place for her to live and be, and you know, hopefully we have utopia for many, many, many generations to come. So excuse me, this song is called Time to Speak, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you. 'Cause it's time to speak for one. It's time to speak for all. It is time to rally around the people who be hearing the call. It is time to speak for one. It's time to speak for all. It is time to rally around the people who be hearing the call. 'Cause we live amongst a pool of what our choices have ingrained. It's only us that keeps us down when our mind becomes enslaved by the thoughts that do not serve a heart that's destined to be true. I keep my thoughts on positivity no matter what I do. It's time to speak for one. It's time to speak for all. It is time to rally around the people who be hearing the call. It is time to speak for one. Time to speak for all. It is time to rally around the people who be hearing the call. So raise your voice to the heavens. Raise your voice to the sky. Raise your voice for the people who still have a heart to try. Raise your voice to the heavens. Raise your voice to the sky. Raise your voice for the people who still have a heart to try. We're picking up the pieces of this land of broken dreams. Witness to the fabric torn apart at the seams. But through the concrete grows a flower. A seed of hope has found its place, and we are trusting that creation governing everything in grace. 'Cause it's time to speak for one. It is to speak for all. It is time to rally around the people who be hearing the call. Oh, it is time to speak for one. Time to speak for all. It is time to rally around the people who be hearing the call. So raise your voice to the heavens, raise your voice to the sky, raise your voice for the people who still have a heart to try. Cause the mind has its reasons for holding on so strong to actions and thoughts that no longer belong. But in the essence of this freedom, it burns to the ground, leaving only the ashes and the purest of sound. Cause it's time to speak for one. It's time to speak for all. It is time to rally around the people who be hearing the call like you all. Time to speak for all. It's time to speak for all. It is time to rally around the people who be hearing the call. So raise your voice to the heavens, raise your voice to the sky, raise your voice for the people who still have a heart to try. Raise your voice to the heavens, raise your voice to the sky, raise your voice for the people who still have a heart to try. Like each and every one of you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Sasha Rose. And she'll be back for another song a little bit later in the show. Thank you, Sasha. And thank you for jumping in so quickly. I appreciate that.
So we have another amazing woman to share with you, who has been an amazing sacred activist for many years. Nina Simon is the co-founder of Pioneers, who is an incredible, important conference that's been going on in October in the San Francisco Bay Area for over 20 years now. It brings together worldwide people that are on the forefront of assisting our ecology, our society, and everything that can create a sustainable and healthy life. And if anyone knows what it takes to produce a conference like that, it is a huge labor of love and a huge spiritual mission calling. And not only does she do that, but she works with women. She's a social entrepreneur, passionate about the sacred restoring of the feminine masculine balance in our world. She works with Indigenous wisdom, leadership, ending racism, co-creating beloved community. And we're so happy to have her with us tonight. So I present to you Nina Simon.
Thank you so much, Debra. And thank you for having me. And thank you all for your time and attention. And Sasha, your song was just beautiful. And I really want to thank Andrew Harvey for coining this phrase, because for many, many years, I didn't consider myself an activist. I thought, well, it's not my way to go out and protest and get arrested. And I thought those were the only people that I considered to be activists. And then Andrew Harvey really named this place that I have always made all the major decisions of my life from, which is the combination of heart and spirit. And so thank you, Andrew, for that. And so I guess what I wanted to say is, you know, my path has been kind of like a tree. I have had many chapters that I'm really grateful for, and I want to name some of them just because they've all been heart-informed and devotionally informed. Really, I got involved with Pioneers after helping to start a company called Seeds of Change, when I fell in love with the natural world. And for about 5 years, I served the sacred biodiversity of life on Earth. And it was one of the most spiritual paths I've ever been on. And then we started this thing called Pioneers, which Debra talked about. And it's a wonderful resource online and all over the place of podcasts and videos. And really, it's a way of lifting up the people who are co-creating the next human civilization, because we knew even 30 years ago when we started Pioneers that our civilization was in peril. We knew that the globe was warming. We knew that pollution was run amok. And we knew that if we didn't start taking a stand on behalf of the sacredness of all life and really learning from our Indigenous elders how to live in right relationship with the earth and each other, we were going to be in trouble. So we started lifting up all these people who had amazing solutions and visions. And Trathan is one of them, and Melanie Demore, who you'll hear from later. And so I've had the great good fortune to help create platforms for amazing people like all of you. And really what I've come to believe is, as Marianne said, I do believe we were all born for this time. I believe it's a really important time to remind ourselves that what we do inside and what we do outside are intimately connected. And I believe that this COVID-19 pandemic is a huge opportunity for a reset and for a review and for really checking in with ourselves about what do we most love and what are we most devoted to, and how can we bring ourselves to serving that? Because actually, I think we're in a moment where all life on Earth is dependent on us, and where we as a human species have the opportunity to decolonize our minds and our belief systems from a bunch of stuff that we've inherited that we didn't choose, and free ourselves to really be the co-creators of this next world that's coming into form. And it needs to be regenerative, but it's a huge opportunity to reinvent everything about human civilization, from our economy to our politics, from our racial dynamics to our intergenerational ones and our sexual ones, right? All of it is up for review, and what an amazing co-creative time that is. So as Debra said, I mean, I've traveled many paths in my life. Recently, the most sacred really was helping my mother through the end of her life. And I'm so grateful that I was able to listen to my heart and stop all my work stuff and show up for her in what was both the most painful and the most sacred passage I've yet to be through. And frankly, I share that with you because we're all in a time of loss and of suffering. And I believe that part of our challenge right now is to feel everything that's going on and to keep noticing what makes our flame grow brighter and what sparks us to get involved, and to each choose action in our own ways, in our own spheres, whether they're creating arts on behalf of the new world, or being a teacher, or being a caregiver, or a million other pursuits. As Rumi said, there are a million ways to kneel and kiss the ground. And I hope we all get inspired through the course of this beautiful evening to bring whatever our deepest love is and connect it with a need for reinvention in the world, and trust that the nexus of those two things is unstoppable, because we will be. Thanks all.
Thank you so very, very much. We're going to put into the chat box some wonderful links and ways that you can get more information. And thank you for the wonderful work that you're doing. It's really, really valuable. Thank you.
My joy and honor.
Great. And is there anything in particular, we always like to give people a call to action. Is there a specific call to action that you have that you'd like people to take?
Well, really, I would say vote with your hands and your feet. Vote in whatever way your heart guides you and your spirit informs you. Vote in whatever way your ancestors and your dreams guide you, because the earth is ringing off the hook and we need everyone's voting now. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Ken, I'm going to turn it over to you for a moment to introduce and talk a little bit about one of our projects that we are supporting.
Well, this week we have Sonoma Food Runners. Their mission is to alleviate hunger, prevent food waste, and basically build community. They really walk their talk, and they provide a lot of food basically for Sonoma County. They take food that otherwise would be thrown away, and they make great use of it. And if they're on the camera, they can talk a little bit more about it for a minute.
And There it is, just putting it up. So yeah, I think, and do we have, what's the name of the fellow who is with Sonoma Food Runners? He's here. Okay, great. I'm unmuting you and putting the spotlight on you. Welcome.
I'm not used to seeing myself. I apologize on there. Sonoma Food Runners. We've worked through just to give a little history, the past 4 fires, the power outages, and now the virus. We pick up excess food from everybody. We even pick up excess food when shelters get too much food of something. We'll take it to another shelter or place of need where they need it. So we shuffle food around just so everybody gets fed and everybody gets their needs met, and none of it goes to waste to that horrible landfill, which creates methane gas, which we don't need in the air. We partner with a lot of different people, and when we deliver the food, we don't just drop it off. We let people choose what they want. Now it's a little bit different because we have that 6-foot rule, and we stand back and they choose what they want with the food. I think the power of choosing, even when you're going through hard times, it's good. To me, it helps them respect the food and where it came from. And it also shows that they still can choose what they choose to eat. It doesn't have to be just what's given to them. They can actually still have that choice from there. Trying to think of what I wrote before, so I apologize. From there. Ken, do you still have that, what I wrote?
I think you've said plenty. I think that gives people an idea of what you're doing, the great work you're doing. I think that's basically, we just want to get a little gist of what it is that Sonoma Food Runners does, and providing food for people who can't afford it. And, but you're really helping out a lot of people. And so contribution tonight will go toward your fund. So thank you for sharing. That was great.
That would be great. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. We're going to see if Matthew Human's internet is working. Matthew, I'm going to put the spotlight on you. And how's it going out? Where are you geographically?
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. I'm in Costa Rica. So Thank you so much for having me. I was gonna say I'm in the jungle, like way out in the middle of nowhere. I was an activist for I don't know, sometimes on the front lines for some years around issues like cannabis, and then I got very strong into hemp legalization and genetic GMO labeling was a big one. And I realized that, I felt like the best thing that I could do for the earth, I was doing the best I could, and I still wasn't happy. I was just stressed out. So one of the most important things I think we can do is be an example of how to live simply on the land and how to be more simple as humans. And so I moved out here 11 years ago to grow food and to live off the grid and to be in a small community where I walk to my neighbors. So I do these concerts from my house here on a 3G network. But really what I also love to be doing is concerts for my neighbors. So I would love to have you all join me down here. If you're interested, you can reach out to me. But I thought I would maybe do this song to start off and just remind us all that we can always just stop no matter what's going on and take a deep breath. And this is a breathe along. Once upon a time, there was a people who forgot how simple life really was. Instead of sitting around with families, There was individuals sitting around boxes with screens. We forgot how to grow our own food, and hunting was replaced by factories very cruel. And everything seemed to be divided by plastic, made with petrochemical oil, which was extremely toxic. And people also ran their cars on that oil, which polluted the air and the water and the soil. But the ones who benefited didn't care about the earth. They were only interested how much the oil was worth. When they started running out, they started fighting for control to secure the world's supply of petroleum was the goal, so they assembled their armies. Wars destroyed life, they hid the truth from the people, kept it out of their sight. And millions of people were betrayed by these lies. They kill each other and watch each other die. Entire cultures were destroyed before our very eyes. We just sat around and watched the fire fall from the sky. All the time we knew that it could happen to us, so we were living in fear. We were on the same bus, by invading other people. We created more enemies, but they believed that they were doing it to make themselves free. This is the world that I grew up in, so you understand my brain when it begins to spin. Searching for solution, a better way to be, and I think much clearer when I begin to breathe. It's every way. Heal my spirit, heal my body, heal my soul. I know who I am, consciousness spinning through sacred air, through sacred air. Yes, and it's time for us to believe who we are. The shamans, the healers, whatever you'll call this. Actualize and realize that we come here to balance these violent times. Warriors of peace, ambassadors of love, always staying centered when push comes to shove. Third eye wide open and dancing to music, accepting our powers and knowing how to use them. Coming together, we circle the globe, seeing the oneness, our chakras are glowing. Our vibrations what we want it to be. Keep it high and we'll know how it feels to be free. All we gotta do to understand these ways is breathe real deep and enjoy each day. Work selflessly with others and we'll all survive together. Tomorrow is now and there's beautiful weather, so breathe. Breathe in the air. Take a deep breath. It's everywhere. Heal our spirits, heal our bodies, heal our souls. Oh, I know who I am. Consciousness spinning through sacred air. Through sacred air. Through sacred air. Respirar. Respirar el aire. Tome un respiro profundo. Están todos partes. Sana mi espíritu, sana mi cuerpo, sana mi alma. Yo sé quién yo soy, conciencia cerrando a sagrado aire. Through sacred air. Through sacred air.
sacred, through sacred air.
Ah, thank you so much. Thank you. And all the way from Costa Rica, we had a brief little internet glitch, but then maximum grace and it came all the way through. So we're grateful for that. Thank you
Thank you all
so, so much. Yeah, thank you.
Hello.
All right. Well, we have another wisdom jewel, and this is with actually a friend of mine who I have tremendous admiration for. You are looking at Veronica Monet. And Veronica is an activist in many ways. She's been doing the good fight, the good work for a long, long time. She's an internationally acclaimed sexual and spiritual empowerment change agent. I love that term. We are change agents, aren't we? She's been on CNN, Fox, Politically Incorrect, Yale, Stanford, UC Berkeley, are all places where she has spoken. And so she's really quite special.
You said there was an internet glitch.
Just a reminder to keep, I'm going to try and find him and mute him. Human, you gotta mute yourself, partner. Thanks. Back to Veronica. She began her activism in college, where she volunteered for a domestic violence shelter. And since then, she's been a really vocal and often highly visible spokesperson for sex worker rights, as well as LGBTQ. Today, her activism includes working for John and Ocean Robbins' Food Revolution Network to bring consciousness and compassion to our food choices. And we're going to be hearing from John a little bit later in the show. But right now, Veronica, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, Scott, thanks so much for having me here. It's an honor and a privilege. And I'm just grateful to be with all of you from around the globe. What a wonderful, wonderful moment this is. It's also a really trying time for all of us. And there are times as an empath, I can feel the pressure of 7.8 billion people trying to figure out what their lives are going to look like tomorrow. And also just trying to cope with today. So there's a certain amount of grief that I know, whether we're conscious of it or not, whether we're feeling directly impacted in really adverse ways, I think we're all picking up on that planetary grief right now. So, and I love the topic tonight that we're going to be talking about, sacred activism. Really resonated with what Marianne shared about collaboration, talking about the cells of the body. And I think that it's really important that we look for all the ways in which we can partner, not just with each other, and not even just with the other sentient beings on this planet, although I think all of that's incredibly important. But I think it's really crucial that we develop a spiritual practice that is perhaps a little bit different than the ones that some of us might have been exposed to when we were growing up. I'm specifically talking about our relationship with the divine and how sometimes in prayer we have learned to come to our version of God or a great spirit or the goddess, whatever terminology works for you, perhaps your higher self, with some supplication where we're actually kind of entreating the divine to help us or assist us. I think that energy sometimes puts us in a place where we're almost kind of begging or wishing. I think the better energy for us is to partner with the divine. So with that thought in mind about actually being in partnership with the divine, I want to offer my favorite prayer. I find that the Serenity Prayer, even though it's been around for quite some time, really speaks to this idea of partnership. And what I mean when I partner with the divine, I'm not only looking for guidance when I go to prayer, I'm also looking to let go, because I don't actually have control over the outcomes. And if I can inhabit that space of letting go, I actually can oftentimes realize better results. And I have more longevity towards my activism because I am not getting bitter or attached or frustrated. I just keep going, keep bringing my best self. So I would love to invite all of you to say the Serenity Prayer with me right now. And it does use the word God. I'm going to use the word God because I've gotten comfortable with the term. I didn't used to be comfortable with it when I was much younger. But feel free to insert whatever word works for you. So I just want to say that now. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Veronica. Veronica has a lot of wonderful offerings, and you can find out more about her by going to her website, theshamefreezone.com, www.theshamefreezone.com. Also, I did an entire hour interview with her about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, maybe it was. And you can find that in the Love Coach Academy videos. So thank you so much, Veronica. Really wonderful to have you with us. And I'm turning it back over to our partner, Debra Giusti.
So this has been so wonderful, so heartwarming. I love what everyone said. And I'd like to share personally that my form of sacred activism was producing the Harmony Festival for 33 years that happened in Santa Rosa from 1978 to 2011, and was the first transformational festival that grew to 30,000 people. And then from that, I created Debra Recommends and Harmony Connects. And also I published a book called Activate Your Soul Tribe, because it was in that working with community and sharing with community, I found how potent working with your soul tribe is. So this is a free book I'd like to offer you as a gift. It's an ebook, and you can sign up with Activate Your Soul Tribe, and it will share with you how we incarnate in soul groups that all have common missions and passions, and they're meant to work together and come together. And I would say this is a very large global peace tribe soul group. And it will share with you how you have an immediate soul family that is your immediate contracts of your immediate relationships, your business partners, your friends, and also that we're all interconnected with soul contracts. And those soul contracts light up and inform us on how to move forward. And when you're really super conscious of that, you have more autonomy of manifesting and attracting your soul family and having more empowered relationships. So I'm inviting you to check out the book. I'll put the link in the chat room as well. And it's also going to be on Amazon in June as a print book, if you like the old-fashioned print book way. But it's there for you to show how you can have much more empowered lives, thriving communities, and really attract your soul tribe to co-collaborate and mega manifest together, which is so important in these times, because this is what we're all doing now. And I'm here to introduce our next wisdom jewel. And this is one of the most important roles, I would say, as a sacred activist, maybe one that isn't recognized so much, but this woman, Sarah Paul, she has her sacred activism where she's been an entertainer, an organic food aficionado, an activist in all that way. But one of her most primary roles is being a mother. And isn't that the most important thing, to be totally devoted to your kids, to raise those children who are actually going to walk into and live in this world that we're creating now? So I'd like to turn it over to Sarah Paul, who does 5 carats, and let her share with her wisdom jewel. Thank you.
Thank you, Debra. This has been really amazing. I'm so happy to be here. And yes, I have 2 children, 2 girls. They're 17 and 9. And I'm in Los Angeles. I came here because I was inspired by conscious media and movies, and I came here to make an impact in the global media world. And I still am doing some work in that area. We supply organic foods, plant-based foods to movie sets. And I definitely believe there's a connection to the content that's being created is affected by the food that producers and actors and people are eating. But it was definitely when I had my daughter and she was in first grade that I really, having a child sparked in me another level of activism, because, you know, seeing how the institution of school showed up for her and what they were feeding the children and how the curriculum, I started questioning everything. And I became a food activist, and I still am very involved. We have a mission-based company called Just One Organics. We are helping farmers with their food waste by pureeing it and drying it and getting food to hungry, malnourished people. And the other big thing for me, seeing our school system and being involved in that, was the language, and that they called it language arts, but it was missing the art part. It was the reading, writing, spelling, grammar, punctuation. And I thought, well, wait, what about how words make us feel and the power of words? And so when I was 12 years old, I started writing poetry. And so recently I realized that this big part of what I'm here to do is share the words, the language in my poetry. And so I wrote this poem during the pandemic. It's called Enlightened Solitude. And here it goes. The gatherer of the gatherers, the leader of the tribes, we have to get together and save our only lives. The love we have to offer, the peace we have inside, we're missing out on magic. We're even touch deprived. A simple way of living, full of morning birds, spoken words, laughter, tears of joy, have seemed to have been forgotten, replaced by technology and toys. Hiking, swimming, picking flowers, singing, dancing for 10 hours. Riding bikes, loving life, helping one another strive, caring for our soil so that we will survive. Healing is the name of this game we all must play. Ourselves, each other, and the planet, this is the only way. To fix these broken systems that only serve the few, our internal world of magic is where we'll find the truth. So share your gifts and knowledge, find the purpose that you hold, dismantle the program and the lies that you've been told. Inner peace and wisdom, courage, strength, and fearlessness, bravery, determination, a fortitude of bliss. The expression of solitude. In this enlightened moment, we conclude, our collective creative power cannot be subdued. So I have an Instagram I just launched. It's called Words for the World, and I'll post it in the chat. You can check out a lot more of my poetry, and it's really sacred. It's just been coming through me for a long time, and I'm just now starting to share it. And it's the simplest form of myself and my activism. And I can be out there doing all these things in food justice, but this is what is in the simplest form coming through me are the words. So Words for the World, check it out. And thank you all for the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you. That was beautiful. And yes, blessings to all parents, maximum grace for parents. I've always been fascinated with the universality of religions and faiths, and was very influenced by Paramahansa Yogananda and how he brought different faiths together. And quite a while ago, somebody gave me a wonderful book, A Walk with Four Guides. It was written by Andrew Harvey, and I didn't know who Andrew Harvey was yet. But it's a beautiful book where he talks about Krishna, the Buddha, Jesus, and Ramana Maharshi. And that began my love affair with the wisdom and the eloquence of Andrew Harvey. And this whole show came around because I love this book. It's called The Hope. It's a guide to sacred activism, and I keep it by my nightstand, and it inspires me. And so when we were thinking about themes, I looked at the book, I said, we've got to do sacred activism, but only if we can get Andrew Harvey. And oh my gosh, I was so happy when Debra told me that Andrew had agreed to be with us. I'm not often starstruck, but Andrew, it's really, I'm noticing my heart is fluttering. A little bit more about Andrew. He's an internationally renowned religious scholar, writer, and teacher. He's written over 40 books, including The Hope, which I just showed you, Son of Man, Savage Grace. He was born in South India in 1952 and has devoted much of his life to studying the world's mystical traditions, including intensive study of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Sufi mysticism. He's had an amazing life, and thank you so much, Andrew, for being with us, and we're eager to hear what you'd like to share. And there we go. Okay, you're unmuted.
I'm unmuted. Hello, everybody. I'm thrilled to be with you. I'm thrilled to be in the company of my great soul sister and beloved friend, Marianne, and my friend, Nina Simons, whose words were so clear and pure. And I'm thrilled to be in the company of such gifted musicians and poets, because as we all must now know, sacred inspiration is at the core of sacred activism. Four years ago, I was sitting with His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, in a garden in Australia. And we were speaking about sacred activism. And I asked him, what message do you think I should give to the growing movement of sacred activism that was engendered by my book, The Hope? What message should be the one that all sacred activists everywhere imprint upon the core of their hearts? And he laughed wildly, first of all, and then he became very concentrated and very focused. And he said, humanity is in danger of extinction. Prepare for the very worst and work tirelessly with joy and compassion for the very best. In the intermediary 4 years, we have had the major reviews from the United Nations that told us that if we don't solve the climate crisis within the next 10 years, we will be in free fall. We have had also the major report that came out last year that announced that 1 million species are now on the brink of extinction. We have had the election in this country of the most depraved, corrupt, and damaging administration, which has proved a complete disaster morally, spiritually, and in every other way. And we now have erupting globally the coronavirus pandemic that, for me and for many of us, announces the great event that we have all been expecting for a very long time. The great event that signals to all those with visionary eyes to see that we are now in a massive, comprehensive, global, dark night process, on the outcome of which depends the whole human future and the future of a great deal of the natural world. I have never been calmer or happier or more grounded or more joyful. But my joy and my happiness does not depend in turning away from the exploding tragedy of our burning world. And the reason why it doesn't depend upon turning away or denying any of what's going on, is that I know from my own inmost experience that the dark night is potentially not at all the end of humanity, but potentially the excruciating and amazing birth canal of a new embodied divine humanity. And I know this because I lived through a terrifying and horrifying and extreme dark night which lasted 10 years, out of which came the realization that created sacred activism and gave the world a map for sacred activism, which hundreds of thousands of sacred activists all over the world are now rejoicing in and adding to with their own wonderful creativity in thousands of gorgeous and glorious ways. So I know that our severest agony can prepare our greatest joy. The deepest chaos we go through can help us reach a far richer, wider, more inclusive order. And the near insane anxiety that any dark night produces can help us all do what all of us, I believe, must now do, which is to allow this burning in the world to burn away all our illusions and sentimentalities and follies and narcissisms, so that we can embrace with our full being, heart, mind, soul, and body, the great birthing force that the divine is offering us now in the time of our greatest dereliction and need, but also in the time of our most amazing possibility, the force of sacred activism. I define sacred activism in two ways, which I hope will be truly helpful and inspiring for you. The first is that when you bring together profound spirituality with wise action, you create a force in you and in the world that is stronger than either activism on its own or spirituality on its own. And we've seen in the 20th century what can be accomplished even in dire situations by beings like Gandhi and Martin Luther King and Lech Walesa and Nelson Mandela and Jane Goodall and the Dalai Lama, who have turned up, inspired and inflamed with this force. We've seen how solutions in intractable situations can be engendered and lived out and embodied and installed by this force. So none of us now have any excuse, I think, not to become in our own unique and fervent ways sacred activists. If you love the world, you are being challenged at the deepest imaginable level to turn up in the splendor and fire and joy and purpose of your love and put that love into wise, radical action now with others. The most important thing that I have learned in my journey, which has been terrible and wonderful, is that the only way forward is a way inspired at the deepest possible level by sacred practice and sacred inspiration. A mysticism that floats off into the transcendent and abandons the world in its agony is just a higher form of narcissism. And an activism that isn't grounded in spirit will burn out, especially in the excruciating circumstances that you and I find ourselves in now, and which will get worse. Because don't kid yourself. The coronavirus is a terrible crisis. There will be a second wave. We won't be rid of this virus for a long time. There will be other pandemics. The bats have 1,400 varieties of coronavirus. And there are viruses that are lurking in the tundra, which will be released. And then there is, of course, the growing crisis of climate change, of horrific inequality, and of radical spiritual impoverishment, and of the increasingly ruthless and despotic and conscienceless actions of an elite that will try and cling to power. But do not despair, and don't be afraid. Because this dark night, I have discovered, is designed perfectly to compel you and I to get very much more intense, serious, and focused about two essential things. Spiritual practice, which we all need to do more powerfully and more concentratedly, and action inspired by sacred consciousness, which all of us, if we're honest, know that we must step up 3 or 4 notches, at least, to be worthy of this vast death crisis in which we are, which could also be the birth canal for a new humanity, but only, please believe me, if you and I get real about where we are, get down with both the agony and the possibility of where we are, and get going with a far greater focus, a far greater selflessness, a far greater urgency, and a far greater and deeper joy and compassion than anything that we have yet imagined ourselves to be capable of. You know this if you're real. I know this when I'm real. And the Dalai Lama, who is real, knows this. And his message, I repeat, is humanity is in danger of extinction. Prepare for the worst, but work tirelessly with compassion and joy for the very best. I'm going to end by the poem of Rumi that I have on my fridge, which gives me courage and chutzpah and ecstasy and fearlessness every day, in the hope that it will inspire you, whom I love and honor and challenge and beg to get real, get down, and get going. The grapes of my body can only become wine after the winemaker tramples me. I surrender my body like grapes to his trampling, so my inmost heart can blaze and dance with joy. And although the grapes go on sobbing blood and screaming, I cannot bear any more anguish, I cannot bear any more cruelty. The trampler stuffs cotton in his ears and says, "It is I who am the master of this work. You can deny me if you want. You have every excuse. But when, through my passion, you reach perfection, you will never be done praising my name. Go through the dark night nobly, feel it all, choose your mission, pursue it fearlessly and sincerely, and that poem will come true in your blood and heart and cells, as it has come true for me.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you. Let's just all take a moment and take a couple of deep breaths. That was such a transmission. And I do want to also remind people that you can learn a lot more about Andrew Harvey by going to his website. He's providing beautiful, free healing resources at andrewharvey.net/healing. Andrew, thank you so much. A lot of people have asked if we can provide this recording, and we do. We provide the entire show, and we'll also edit Marianne and Andrew's clips so that people can share them.
Never edit Marianne. Never edit Marianne. She is our greatest channel of divine truth. She is amazing. I worship that woman and adore her. Don't cut a word out. She is giving us the reality of the situation with her own unique rhythm.
Yeah, actually what I was referencing, Andrew, is we'll edit, meaning we'll take her entire piece and your entire piece.
Your dreams. Sally, it's frightening.
God bless you.
Thank you so much, Scott. God bless you. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you, Andrew.
My cat is awaiting. Bless you. Thank you.
All right. Well, as fate would have it, I had the opportunity to meet someone just yesterday who is an elected official. And it's so rare, so few people in our tribe enter politics. And she's an extraordinary speaker. And she's the elected mayor of Encinitas, California, which is one of two places I've long been imagining moving to. So I introduce now for a wisdom jewel, Mayor Catherine.
Well, thank you so much for having me today. I am thrilled to be here and have really enjoyed watching the beginning of this. And particularly, I found Marianne's statement that politics should be sacred because public policy is what guides the collective. And I think it's a really important thing to remember when you're thinking about what is sacred activism. Because when I think of that phrase, what I believe it is true that it depends upon sacred inspiration to get to the activism. But politics really is the art of the possible. So I think of politics and the public policy decisions we're making as existing right in this really thin line between the aspirational and the status quo. And so how do we move off of the status quo of how we've always done things to change the world and to tackle some of these big problems? The big problems like climate change or dealing with homelessness, I'm a mayor in the city of Encinitas, which is a coastal community in California in northern San Diego County. It's about 63,000 people. And there are lots of problems in our city, like everywhere throughout the country and the world. And so moving that needle and being active is the art. So the art of the possible. What is it that we can do in this world today to make a difference? And so there was a request earlier for a call to action, and I'll repeat it in the simple terms that I think we all really know and are deeply aware of, which is that you have to participate. I think we need to be always taking care of the self and the soul and doing the self-care, but then we have to use that as our foundation and go out into the world and vote, raise your voice, speak your values, participate in those online forums, send the letters to the editor, define the world that you want, because when you don't speak and you don't participate, it doesn't make any difference. And that is the most profound thing to remember, is that you have to participate in order to make a difference. So I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today and the invitation to participate. And I am looking forward to the rest of this show. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Catherine. Thanks for joining us on such short notice. Really wonderful. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Debra to introduce something a little bit different. It's time for some comedy. And so take it away, Debra.
Yes, and as well as this incredible wisdom and music, it's important to lighten up and laugh with all this seriousness that we have in our community and our life. So we do bring amazing comedians and entertainers to be with you in our show. And this next woman has been a bright light in our community for a long time. She gives her gifts through theater. She's a shamanic cheerleader, through dance, closing art, and now a comedian. Her effervescent personality, as well as deep evolutionary and spiritual truth, comes through. And she is a rowdy bliss maker who brings spirit into spirituality. This is Raina Satori.
Oh, thank you so much, Debra. I really appreciate the opportunity. And wow, it's amazing to be on the docket with so many of you evolutionary revolutionaries. And to be called forth to try to bring some comedy and levity when there seems like there's really not much. So here we go. Activism in 2020. What does that look like exactly? It's definitely the least physically active activism you could do. I mean, how actively can you pursue activism when you can't really activate? And what is the difference between activity, activism, and just acting? It seems that 2020 is really making us stay home and sort out our spiritual closets as well as our actual closets in search of dumb things like dumbbells. Did you know there's a national shortage of dumbbells? The gym equipment, not the people. There's lots of those. Armchair activists are on the rise, as is their blood pressure, but they aren't rising from the couch because they can't leave the house. So then what? How can I awaken the sleeping masses? How can I inspire? One could argue up till now my activist activity maybe has had some blind spots. Actively moving around the world in trains, planes, and automobiles with my gas-guzzling car and all my plastic stuff and my paper coffee cups and plastic water bottles. And yet no matter how good my intention, the consumption of resources still applies. Does the death of a tree matter less if I used it to make a bunch of Save the Forest flyers? I mean, kinda. Nature doesn't so much care about my carbon offset credits. I mean, carbon offset credits? Can I buy karma offset credits for my carbon offset credits? For the harm I had to do so that I could do the good things? Is there a karma credit card? Do I accrue interest? Boop, boop, boop. Hello, this is Samskara with Karma Credit Cards. How can I assist you today, madam? Yes, hello. What is the interest rate of my karma credit? Can I get my limit increased? I need to drive around a lot so I can make the world a better place. I mean, if Earth's resources are a zero-sum game, what if sacred Earth activism actually looks like doing nothing? The great Do Nothing campaign! Save the Earth! Do nothing. I mean, not actually nothing, but like stay at home and don't buy anything new. consume only the food and toilet paper I need, and spend time being with myself and my family. All this scurrying around to try and save the earth, and it turns out the very best thing I could have done is nothing? Wait, do you hear that? It's the sound of a million couch potatoes cheering. They're like, turns out I'm a damn hero. God. The planet is, right now, repairing itself at an astonishing rate. Global pollutions actually have been plummeting like never before, and animal activity is bustling because everyone is at home. So sit on the deck outside, check out the bird scene and the perfectly blue sky with nice fluffy white clouds. It used to be save the earth, and now I'm thinking maybe it's more like let the earth save you. It seems like this is the very best time to be an earth activist, because it turns out the greatest good I could do for the planet is just to go outside and let it in. To just go for a walk, puff some cannabis, and revel in the glorious creation I get to live in. What was I activating towards again? Wasn't it global peace, sustainability, a healthier planet? Well, ironically, collectively, we seem to have accidentally done it. Passive activism? I mean, they say God's best work is done when you don't see her doing it, but this one, I mean, what even is activism when it's only expressed externally through action? It might just be activity. Perhaps sacred activism is the deep internal facing of my most treasured dark corners, the places where the fiery godmother hangs out and grants all my worst fears. Maybe sacred activism requires a looser grip on what I think and I know, and a full spread eagle head first surrender over the perception waterfall into the warm liquid of unconditional love. Is that irresponsible? Irreparably stupid and inconsiderate? Or the single wisest thing I've ever done? Perhaps sacred activism looks like inspiring everyone to take the positive side effects of the awful situation we find ourselves in and learn to use less, do less, consume less, and earth more. I can cheer for that. In fact, I will cheer for that. Activation! Okay! Activate, awaken, align, and inspire. Bring your love now with some true soul fire. Yeah! Thank you! Mwah!
Thank you so much. That was really, really fun. Boy, we need cheerleaders. It's kind of perfect, actually. You know, you take the messages of Andrew and Marianne, and then get the energy of someone like Raina cheering, and the political action taken by Mayor Catherine. You know, it does all come together. It really does. We really are all the little butterfly cells coming together.
Yeah. And you know, Scott, I'm actually doing shamanic cheerleading camp, virtual online camp. You can find out more about that. You can come and learn the cheers, do them with other people, and you can find out about that on theshamaniccheerleaders.com.
And give it, you'll put the put it into the chat box, the website. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you, Raina. Thank you.
Namaste.
So this is the part of the show where we are going to share a few different things. And I want to thank everybody who's been donating to our GoFundMe campaign. You've heard from some of the people that have benefited from it. And you're going to hear in a moment from one of the people that we donated to last week. But a reminder, you can donate at this website, and we'll put it in again. And one of the people who has been such an incredibly important sponsor for our show, for Saturday Night Live, and he's a sponsor today and next week, and he's donated very, very generously to our GoFundMe campaign. And we're going to be hearing from him speaking a little bit later. His name is Jay Mayer. And I'm going to start by introducing Jay to you and his light touch work through a video that we just got. So this is a chance for you to get to know a little bit about Jay Mayer, Light Touch, who's now going to be collaborating with Love Coach Academy.
This pandemic is a crisis unlike any of us have faced before. the loss of work and economic uncertainty, along with social distancing, ongoing health concerns. This is all putting too much pressure on couples and families. Fortunately, there are people like Jay Mayer who is making a difference. His vision for light touch tools and techniques provide immediate support for individuals, couples, and families. Combining loving touch with affirmations, our great global tribe is going from surviving to thriving. Miracles are occurring.
There we go. Thank you. So we're looking forward to hearing from Jay, and we're grateful. And again, Jay's one of our sponsors. And to tell us a little bit more about the GoFundMe and our other sponsor, Lori Grace and TrustPro, turning it over to Ken.
Thank you, everybody. First off, I want to just say, as far as our GoFundMe page, when you do donate some money, we are giving you either a shout out if it's $44 or more. Then if you donate $77, you're going to get 2 3-day passes to the expo in October. And then if it's $100, it's a one-on-one live coach seminar with a live coach of your choice. And then if it's a $200 donation, you get Scott Catamas himself with a 1-hour. There he is. He's going to be sharing his screen. There you go. So also we have, last week we had Meals on Wheels as one of our sponsors, and they received a $1,000 donation, and Jim couldn't make it tonight. But we do have our other sponsor, Healing Clinic, Carla, with us, and she's going to just talk for a minute about how when she received her $1,000 check, what she's done great things for her community. So take it over, Carla.
Great. Good evening. My name is Carla Maria Perez. I'm the lead coordinator of the Healing Clinic Collective, or the HCC. The HCC has a network, or we're a grassroots healing justice project based in Oakland. Our core collective is made up of healers, organizers, birth workers, and healing artists. We have a network of over 300 members, over 100 of which are holistic wellness practitioners, and the rest of which are operational volunteers. In our 7 years, we've organized our network and community to hold 17 free, first come, first serve healing clinics offering non-industrial, non-pharmaceutical, holistic wellness modalities. We focus on serving communities that are targeted by institutional discrimination, people who are least likely to access holistic natural healing, and aim to create a safe space and dignified experience for trans, gender, non-binary, and two-spirit people. Altogether, we've served over 3,000 people through our clinics, and we also run a referral service for the practitioners in our network. In response to COVID-19, and part of what we're using, the generous donations that came from the expo for the Healing Clinic has created a special listing of our network practitioners that can offer remote sessions at this time. We're organizing a series of online support circles for our network members and local community, and participating in local mutual aid, including funding the creation of care packages to support midwives in Oakland's General Hospital, Highland Hospital, and repairing hundreds of damaged masks from Bay Area counties for redistribution to vulnerable folks who lack personal protective gear. This work is really about reconnecting people with wellness philosophies, healing modalities, and spiritual practices that reflect their ancestral lineages in a way that allow people of color in particular to heal from the forced disconnection from ancestral understandings and wisdom. That is a critical part of any meaningful and successful healing process. And so it's the focus of our work. And you can find out more about us at our, somebody's asking for the URL, healingcliniccollective.net. And we're really so grateful for your donation. Our work is both a form of social justice organizing and sacred activism. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carla. Next we have Sharina, who was our donor 2 weeks ago, and she's going to come on and tell us a little bit about what she's done in the last couple of weeks with her money, over $1,000. So come on, Sharina. Unmute.
Oh my goodness. I just saw Carla on there from the Healing Clinic Collective. Brought tears to my eyes. I've been working and doing community work with Carla for the last, since 2013. So just to see her on here, just see them on here made me cry. Because we've been organizing together for just that long. Yeah, my name is Sharina from People's Community Medics, and I am so appreciative of the donation that was given to People's Community Medics. Currently, like donating and helping out elders with, every now and then I pop up and give donations of food, supplies, medical supplies to anybody that needs them at their door. So basically, if you would like to get involved with People's Community Medics, you can reach me at People's Community Medics at gmail.org, or you can reach me on Facebook at Sharina Diamond Thomas on Facebook, and you can link up with me and we can join in and link up and do first respond work in the community together. Thank you so much for the donations, and it's gonna continue to help me build and do what I've been doing here in the community for over the last 10, 15 years. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And then the other sponsor the other nonprofit we have this week is trustvote.org. And that's going to be, Lori Grace is going to talk a little bit about that, but it's basically creating safer ways to vote across the US and plays a very important part in stopping election fraud. Imagine, we need more election integrity, which we've been talking about that tonight. So, good on Lori for getting that going. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Lori?
Can I say a little bit about Lori?
Yes, Debra, please.
I want to share that your donations now, we are using the gifting economy of this new paradigm. So the money that you're giving us now, we are going into these nonprofits, and because of your generous donations, we're able to give thousands of dollars. So this is what we can do virtually. So you can give whatever you can afford that supports us in our broadcast, to give you another broadcast next week and future weeks, but also to fund these amazing nonprofits. So we thank you so much. We thank all the donations that are coming in now. And we really, this is the gifting economy where we gift you this program, and then the money comes to us and we send it back out into the community to support these organizations. And then we retain some of it so that we can put on a broadcast to you again. So we thank you so much. We have the link in the chat room, but you can also go to GoFundMe and just type in Global Peace Tribe, and that will get you into our GoFundMe account, and you just can ping whatever your heart calls to share. And I would like to announce Lori now. Lori is a really important friend in the community, and she is a true sacred activist. A lot of these activists, a lot of us don't get recognized for what we do, and we just do it from our heart. And Lori is someone where she has a lot of resources, and she really doesn't have to do anything, except for she does put all her resources in what she believes in, including election reform, including assisting community, including assisting a lot of people in community that have had healing challenges. Lori is there, and we wanted to honor her and love her and give her some juju, because she does stand up and does put her money, her resources, and her time in what she believes in. So she's a true sister, and I love her, and we want to give her some juju now and really honor her. And Ken, would you like to say more, or Scott, about Lori?
I've known Lori for 35 years. And I've watched her do so many extraordinary things. Um, and this community that we're all a part of and that's kind of now coming together online, we've been around for a while. And I thought it might be kind of fun. I came across a photo, and this is Lori on stage at the Harmony Festival. And so, you know, what we used to be able to do through Debra's incredible work of creating the Harmony Festival for 30 years, Lori's been around for a very long time, and she has done so much for so many people. Lori's one of those people that, because I've actually lived in her home for a couple of years, I've watched her in action, I've watched her life. She is constantly doing something to make the world a better place. Was an environmentalist way, way back. She's always had a love of Mother Earth. And we're going to hear a little bit more over the next few minutes about Lori's accomplishments. But I'm going to, put the spotlight on Lori. And Ken, is there anything you'd like to add? No, you're good. Hi, Lori.
Hi.
So why don't we start by, if you want to just tell us a little bit about kind of your background and what being a sacred, because you clearly are a sacred activist. What does that mean to you, and how has that showed up in your life?
I think I was being asked, what has inspired your heart to move forward in activism in some very important ways? And what I care about the most is my relationship with Mother Earth. And that's what started everything for me. In 2003, I learned that actually our election in 2000 had been stolen, and our presidential election. And that was very unsettling for me. And so I actually got involved in trying to make our elections reliable and trustworthy. And since then, in 2010, I created trustvote.org, which is a website dedicated to supporting people being able to trust that their vote actually counts, that it's counted as cast. And but the other thing that really affected me, and that's why I chose to be beside this with Marin Energy Authority, was that when in 2006, I met Al Gore, and I was watching his slideshow with somebody sitting next to me who was confirming that everything that he talked about in the article was happening. And I started to just cry. And I felt like Mother Earth was calling for me. And then later I participated in Al Gore's climate project, became a climate project presenter. And then after that, about 3 years later, I ran across a group that was trying to start a green utility here in the Bay Area where energy would be made through solar, wind, micro hydro, and biofuels, and where the cost would be paid for by the taxpayers who signed up for it. And this sounded really wonderful, and I took a very leading role then to try to make this happen, and my energy and passion attracted 2 other people of means to join. I was also the most active, but I helped create something which is now called MCE, which I look out over the bay, and every place that I can see is using green electricity. And Marin Clean Energy, or Marin Energy Authority, became MCE because so many places, Concord, Napa, Alameda, and Richmond, many places joined this, and all the townships in Marin. And I also helped stimulate Sonoma Clean Power, actually. And so I am so happy to have helped create this and to have inspired people. And the money that I invested, which was the most that I had ever invested in anything, all came back.
That's beautiful.
So grateful. But we also had to fight, and have had to fight for several years, PG&E, which has been determined to try to crush it. So we did that through reaching out to people on phone banks and things when different things would come up for votes. And speaking of that, I want to say, echoing what some other people have said here, your votes, your choosing to vote does make a difference. And I want to say, if you have any doubt that your vote will be counted as cast, go to trustvote.org and find exactly what you need to do to make sure that your mail-in ballot really works.
And Trust Vote is who we're kind of supporting. We're making a donation to Trust Vote this year, with the GoFundMe money. And Lori, can you tell us a little bit more about Trust Vote?
Yeah, I'd also like you to flip on to trustvote2020.org, because that's another version of the thing. And we did send it to you.
Okay. I'll do my best to do that.
Trustvote2020.org.
Okay.
That actually has a donate button on it. And it's, anyway, it's another website dedicated to supporting us trusting our vote. 44% of people in the United States choose not to vote in a presidential election because they don't believe that their vote will count. And indeed, we've had issues about Russian hacking, and unbeknownst to some people, electronic voting machine vendors are also doing their part of possibly manipulating the vote. So what we want to do is really get a democracy we can trust again, a democracy that reflects the true will of the people. So I would certainly feel much happier living in a country.
And Lori, if you could, we're going to need you to speak a little bit closer to the your microphone. We're having a little trouble hearing you. The sound has been weak. But this is Trust Vote 2020. We were able to hear you, but very light. And a few people have been asking for you to speak a little louder. So trustvote2020.org, want to really encourage people to go there. And we want to just really acknowledge that Lori has been on the front lines for so long. And that's why we wanted to honor her today. And again, I'm going to pull up a little bit more, which tells you a little bit about Trust Vote. So again, there's trustvote.org and trustvote2020.org.
And there's a big push towards voting by mail this time, but I want to let you know that we are kind of at a war between, unfortunately, Republicans and Democrats. There's a lot of hostility in both places, but also people who want, who unfortunately don't really want to empower low-income people and people of color to fully vote, also known as voter suppression, have created ways to create roadblocks in their being able to vote, both through purging and also hidden traps in the mail-in votes. So wherever you are in the country, go to, preferably trustvote.org, trustvote2020.org has a donate button. But anyway, just go to this and you will see exact information that you need to protect your mail-in ballot. And remember, you can make a big difference.
Thank you so much, Lori. And just so people know, I'm going to have an entire hour interview with Lori this Tuesday night at 6 p.m. And we'll make sure that her sound is much better so that you can hear her properly. That's 6 p.m. Pacific time, Tuesday night. And we're going to have Lori, and she's going to really be able to go into detail. Lori knows so much about election integrity and our need for election reform. And she also, we're going to also talk about her farm in Hawaii, where she has an organic, sustainable farm. We're going to learn more about that also on Tuesday. So please do join us Tuesday night, this Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Lori. We're looking forward to that quality time with you. And then after Lori on Tuesday night, we've got the great Fantuzzi, who's going to play music. And that's all on the Love Coach Academy videos. You can find it at lovecoachacademy.com. Those of you watching on Facebook right now. All right, it's time for some more music and to rock it and
I want to share one more thing, Scott.
Sure.
I just want to emphasize that your donations, thank you. They're all coming in. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jay, for all your generous donations. And your donations are helping us to produce the show next week, which is going to be amazing. The show next week, our theme, this is going to be our last show of the season, but we hope to come back and produce for you again. So all your donations are going to help. But what we have for next week, our theme is co-creating our vision as the new normal. And this means we're not going to buy into what the media, what the collective is telling us, but we are really going to manifest our vision. And we've got some incredible speakers and musicians to be with you. We have Carolyn Mace, which is coming back again. She was with us several weeks ago. We also have Marcy Schmeinoff, who you know from the bestseller Happy for No Reason. We also have JJ and Desiree Hertak, incredible speakers and visionaries. We're going to have Mirabai Devi come and lead us in meditation. And we have the amazing Kirtan band that you see at a lot of the festivals, as well as we're bringing back Elijah Ray and other great musicians and other great wisdom jewels. And we have a very, very special guest that we can announce now. Deepak Chopra will be with us next week. So that's going to be truly amazing for our last show. And with all your donations, we hope to continue and come back again and do this again and really represent what we want to communicate and experience together with whatever's going on. And so, and now we're going to have Larissa Stowe, who is amazing because she not only is high level music, high level heart, but she really channels spirit in her music. So I'm so happy to present again, Larissa Stowe.
Thank you so much, Debra. Thank you for having us. I invite everyone just to open up your body right now. We're going to be singing Aham Brahma. It means I am divine love. Marianne and Andrew were both talking about the importance of sacred practice, doing our spiritual practice. When we sing Aham Brahma, we are vibrating I am love. The universe is in my bones. Aham Brahma. The temple and the dark cacao. Aham Brahma. Aham Brahma. When the sun begins to fade. Aham Brahma. There is a light that will remain. Aham Brahma. Aham Brahma. Aham Brahma. I am the love I seek. Aham Brahma. Aham Brahma. Open and listen. Love. Aham Brahma. 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 The dancing breath, the holy heartbeat.
Lives your life will set you free. Walk home tonight. A home dream, a home dream. I am the love I see. A home dream, a home dream.
You are divine love. All of you, everybody watching, you are divine love. Thank you so much, Sasha, and you're beautiful. And you want to introduce your bandmates to us?
Yes. This is Christo Polani back here, and Vince Clark.
I'm Larissa Stowe.
Let's all twinkle. We twinkle. We like to twinkle people. Thank you so much. That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I want to thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for being here and taking a stand for love. So much love.
Taking a breath. We're going to hear from John Robbins next, but I want to just thank all the people that are donating. There are so many people that have donated, and I can't even name everybody, but I want to thank once again Jay Mayer, who's been incredibly generous for the last month, really. Every week he's been incredible. Thank you, Nancy, Yamini, Lauren, Sharon, Kathleen Gildred, who's donated several times, my dear soul sister in Topanga. This person, Anonymous, we get the most donations from this anonymous person. Karen, Carol, Jean, Leah, another Leah, Catherine, Laura, Rich Davidson, God bless you, Rich. Thank you, everybody. Celestine Starr, Soul Sister, Wendy Barnhart, thank you, Wendy. Thank you so much. Susan, and a whole lot of anonymouses going on. Thank you, everybody, for your beautiful, beautiful donations. I'm really grateful that we're going to be able to have John Robbins speak next. John is somebody that I've had admiration for so long. He is the author of the best-selling Diet for a New America. He's actually written 10 different books that have sold over 2 million copies. He's now the president of the Food Revolution Network, and we're going to be hearing about that. John, thank you so much for being with us, and what would you like to share?
Well, thank you, Scott. And thank you to Debra and to Ken and to Lori for all the work that has been required to put this on and bring us all together tonight. And each evening that you've done this is a contribution to the work we're all doing in our hearts, in our lives, in our minds, with everything we have to try to bring about the healing that our earth and our spirits so deeply need. Somebody once said, a crisis is a terrible thing to waste. Well, we have a lot of crises today. And I don't know what you who are listening, which crisis is impinging on you the most right now. What is causing you the most distress or discomfort or motivation to change, to heal, to grow, to transcend, to transform, whatever it is that is eating at you, forcing you, evoking you, triggering you, calling you forward in these times, in these very difficult, very challenging times. But what I do know is that when we are faced with serious crises, personal death, bankruptcy, I mean, my heart is really going out right now as the economic dominoes are falling to all the people who are frightened financially, who are suffering financially, all the people whose health is at risk, who know people who have lost loved ones, who fear for their lives or their health. There is so many reasons right now that we could despair, that we could become hopeless, that we could resign ourselves. And yet there's something inside each of us that won't allow that. And Andrew spoke about it, and Marianne spoke about it, and Nina spoke about it, and Veronica spoke about it. And why we're here today is to feel it and know it and be blessed by it. Because it gives our lives grace, it gives our lives meaning and commitment and purpose and passion when we open to it. And crises and difficulties and pain sometimes are what's needed to open that door to blessing. And I want to speak of one other thing that I think will enable you to find the meaning and the purpose in the crises, to find the power and the empowerment and the beauty in this world and in yourself, whatever comes. And that is, I want to ask you, have you ever known a non-human animal that has enriched your life, that has made you more human, that has given you something in your heart that you treasure and that you know is good and true and beautiful and worthy? Most of us have known an animal or more than one that have gifted us in that way. So I ask you, invite you now to think of, remember an animal that has blessed your life in this way, blessed your heart, and bring that animal's gift to you, to your consciousness right now. So you become aware of the presence that this animal has been for you or was for you or is for you and will be for you as you go through whatever crises are yet to come for you. and for us. Because we have adapted a relationship to the other life forms on this planet that's basically predatory, that's basically exploitive. And we've deprived ourselves in doing that of the companionship and the caring that we need to be fully human and to play our part in the unfolding of this precious planet that we're here to do. So think of that non-human animal that's blessed your life. Maybe this animal's still alive, still part of your life. Maybe it's in the past. Maybe it's someone you knew, a being you knew really well, shared your life with, still do, maybe. Maybe it's an animal you only knew for a moment, only saw for a moment, but that moment was special and magical and still is living in you. And the reason I ask you to bring that animal to your consciousness right now is because that animal can nurture you through the crises to come. If you remember the gift, that non-human being, we're not alone as human beings. Thank God. Because we're part of creation. We forgot that sometimes. We act as if we're not. We think we're separate, and we believe sometimes we're better than the rest of life. But we know better than that. That's a fallacy. That's just the myth, the illusion that we need to break free from so that we can live with reverence again. Reverence for ourselves and each other, reverence for all of life, all the web of life, in all of its manifestations, the challenging ones, the terrifying ones, the beautiful, life-affirming ones, and know that we're not alone. Know that you're not alone. We are in this with other creatures. Now, there's a wave of extinction passing across the planet as a result of human activities, primarily. That is a tragedy and something that causes me, at least, and many of us, deep, deep anguish. What right do we have to do that? Well, we don't have the right, but we've done it. We're doing it. And thank goodness we're not alone. We can actually recover our connections to all beings and to all our relations, past and future. We can recover our connection to each other and ourselves, and our hearts are the doorway through which that connection can happen. So I want to reach out to you right now and say that if you're feeling suffering and hurt and misery and pain, that's okay. If you're feeling afraid, that's okay. If you're feeling hopeless, that's okay. Because when we feel it all, when we look to see what we're unwilling to feel and allow that also to be, then a power can unite us and integrate us and bring us together with all the beings that have loved us ever, all the beings that we have loved ever, all the potential beings that we can remember and recreate that connection with. And they will be here for you in your crises and in your moments of beauty and blessing. So let us give thanks for all beings. Let us remember our connection to all beings. Let us be fed by those connections to all beings. They will see us through. They know better than we do. They always have and they always will. One of my prayers has always been, may all be fed, may all be healed, may all be loved. And I want to say that 2 more times and invite you to say it with me, wherever you are. May all be fed, may all be healed, may all be loved. May all be fed, may all be healed, may all be loved. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. And I'd like to ask him to put this spotlight for a moment. Could you tell us a little bit about this very important work you're doing with the Food Revolution Network?
Well, I joined with my son, Ocean Robbins, 10 years ago. We founded the Food Revolution Network. We have 600,000 members now. And we're doing events to help people understand that the way our food and agriculture is, the way we eat, the way we produce our food, has an enormous impact on the environment, on the life support systems of the planet, and on our health. And it turns out that the food choices, by and large, that are healthiest for us individually, that give us the strongest immune systems and the least susceptibility to infectious disease, that give us the strongest cardiovascular systems, that give us the best respiratory systems and the strongest feelings of vitality and clarity in our minds and bodies, are also the food choices that are most ethical, humane, cause the least amount of suffering to other animals, and are most environmentally sustainable. And that's a powerful thing, that you don't have to choose between those things. What serves you also serves others too, serves the world. And we're trying to bring this awareness to as many people as possible so that we can start feeding ourselves as a society and as individuals in ways that are true to our hearts, that are in alignment with our compassion, that are in alignment with and expressive of our commitment to heal the world, to heal the earth, and be part of the healing that our hearts have prayed for all along and still do. And this is an opportunity that we all have with every bite we eat, with every food choice we make, with every food we purchase, that we can actually start to recreate and send our roots back down into the natural world and feel fed by nature instead of by the concoctions of a food industry that really is so profit driven and not health oriented at all, doesn't care who it hurts. And we can reclaim our food, our fuel, our nurturing, our nourishment from industries that don't mean us well, and put our dollars, put our hands, put our minds together to create a loving world.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you. He gave us the link. I just put it into the chat box for that PDF on foods to eat and foods to avoid. And thank you so much for your really decades of supporting animals and humans. God bless you, John. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott.
Kenny, would you like to introduce our next wisdom jewel?
Yes, we have Melanie Demore. Melanie has traveled the world. She was a founding member of the Grammy-nominated Vocal Assembly, but nothing is closer to her heart than bringing people together wherever she is to experience the healing power of music. Take it away, Melanie.
Hello, everybody. This song, that's my wisdom thing, goes out to all the people who just need a little bit of something. So if you would like, you can type the names of people in the chat box, and I will just look at them and I will include them in my songs, which means that from now on, once I see their names, that they will be part of every song that I sing. So here we go. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. No matter where you go, no matter where you've been, you'll never walk alone. I feel you deep within. So I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. No matter what you feel or what you choose to show, I'm always there for you. And so I want you to know that I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I walk the path with you. Go slow, dear ones, don't hurry. I'll Go just like you need to go. There is no need to worry. 'Cause I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love.
Wow. That was so beautiful. Let's twinkle her and twinkle all the people that we love that are showing up in the chat box right now. So amazing, so important to send out our love. Thank you so much, Melanie. Thank you. And now we get to lighten it up again, because that's what we do. We go deep and then we go light. And this is one of my favorite comics, and so favorite, I actually produced 4 shows with her last year that totally sold out in Sonoma County. What I love about her is she has a way of putting a mirror in my face and having me laugh at myself. She pokes fun at our holistic and progressive lifestyles that we think are so important. And you get that funny bone of just looking at it and seeing another way for it. And she's actually a diehard activist, because right now she is in Portugal. So she had to get up at around 4 a.m. to be with us tonight. But she wanted to be here and we wanted to have her. And this is Alicia Dotner. She has been voted the best comedy of the Bay Guardian, best storyteller, and I love her. So thank you for being with us, Alicia Dotner.
Thanks, Debra, and thanks, Melanie, and John Robbins, and oh my God, all of you guys. And Raina was on. Did you guys see her? God, I love her shamanic cheerleading, and I love the take on sacred activism of doing nothing. Like, Raina, I wish I wrote that. Seriously, I'm jealous. But like, I kind of imagine too, like that Marianne Williamson is watching and has like this sort of like just like a slightly different take. And there's so much divisiveness these days, you guys, that I just unconsciously started having this fantasy of Raina and Marianne like scrapping it out in a Zoom breakout room parking lot, you know, and Raina's like, I just saved 6 trees sitting at home in my pajamas buying nothing. And Marianne's like, Raina, let's not confuse non-dualism with sacred activism. But I have a cheer for doing nothing. Ready? Stay Om. And no, you know, it's not only about staying Om. Once we awaken to the stillness, we must arise and take inspired action. Yeah, true dat, MW, true dat. You're right. You guys, it's an intense time on the planet. I have to say, it's intense, you know, I mean, not just with the pandemic, as we know, but like it used to be, you could make light of something unfortunate happening by saying, hey, oh, you know, it's not the end of the world, but now, well, I don't know, you guys. I read the oceans are gonna run out of fish by 2050. What if I have a child one day and they get dumped and all I can say is, oh, honey, don't worry. There are plenty of plastic bags in the sea. You know, and it's obvious by now, of course, there are really 4 likely responses we're having when we realize what kind of situation we're in with the planet. You know, there is, of course, the standard burnout style activism. There is the sacred activism. There is the spiritual bypass, and my favorite, sacred depression. You know, but like, I want to change. I want, you know, but if I lived in a truly sacred way, if I truly felt the impact of my impact, wouldn't I change everything about how I live? I mean, might I finally become like those wild, smelly seed bank people who live off the grid in yurts and make their own water? I mean, might everything change? I mean, it's like we don't want to take care of our home planet. We're like that kid in the Giving Tree. Yeah, thanks, Mom, for all the natural resources, but you're kind of running out. And honestly, you're smothering me. I need a little space. Outer space. I'll be on the dark side of the moon. Can you give me a ride? You know, we're starting to think about survival the way real estate agents think about flipping houses on HGTV, right? Welcome to Flipping Mars. Let's take a look at this hot new fixer-upper. Mars is less than 1 light year away in an up-and-coming neighborhood between Earth and Jupiter. Hot in the summer, also hot in the winter. Stunning views of smoky Earth. Uncrowded charter schools, zero traffic. We'll be importing a water feature and an air feature. Right now, the atmosphere on Mars will take your breath away. I mean, up until now, like there's been this sort of unstoppable, inevitable technological march toward progress, you know, with an arc that I just feel like bends toward evil, you know, and who dreams up all these terrifying futures? I mean, science fiction writers, right? Come on, Black Mirror, you know, and then futurists read this crap and think, I mean, if we don't do it, someone else will. So we kind of have to, or it'll be in the wrong hands. Should we develop killer attack drones that can stalk you anywhere in the world using GPS and facial recognition? What could go wrong? Create a worldwide government interweb of wearable smart devices that compile your location, video, money, mood, politics, and viral status and rate your social credit for life. What could go wrong? Hey, yeah, is this 1984? No, it's COVID-19. Oh, okay, thanks. People, riddle me this. Why doesn't utopian sci-fi just come true suddenly and without warning, right? Why aren't the elusive tales of Elysium being eyed up for adoption? Oh, what could go wrong? Oh, shit. Oh, we just created a borderless worldwide government based on love free of war, where men heroically carry out the harmonious visions of women in charge. Diseases are eliminated through macrobiotic diet, biodynamic farming, and meditation, which is why healthcare is so damn cheap, as is electricity, because we just converted all the arms factories into solar panel factories. The oceans are clean because consumers buy experiences instead of objects made of single-use plastic. And whimsically, all the sex robots have been converted into eunuchs who recite roomy, platonic cuddle parties, replace meaningless sex, and we all have time to make performance art because we have a universal basic income and women get to choose whether they want to have kids or not, and childcare is free, and nobody's earthing because we just call it walking barefoot now, and only cops are growing mustaches. And for some reason, only women are cops. Oh, and we reverse mass extinction because 7.5 billion people suddenly realized that if we stand together, we are frickin' powerful enough to harmonize the entire frickin' planet. I mean, what could go right? It's scary, right? Thank you all. Thanks, Debra. Thanks, Ken. Thanks, Scott.
People can get more information about Alicia by going to aliciadattner.com. So thank you, Alicia. That was really, really fun. All right, and we're going to go back to Debra.
Yes, thank you, Alicia, for all that words of wisdom in that very colorful transmission. Thank you so much. And now we get to go back to another musician, to Matthew Human. And doing music is definitely a huge part of sacred activism, when the music and the message comes out. And that's what Matthew is about. And he's been a sacred activist for many, many years. He's in Costa Rica now on a permaculture farm, and he lives and breathes activism, and it comes through his music. And that's why we wanted him to be on with us. So thank you, Matthew, for giving us another one of your incredible songs.
Thank you so much, Debra and Scott and everybody here. I was actually relating to being that smelly guy in the yurt hoarding seeds, but I think I smell okay now. So, but thank you so much. And John Robbins, just all you guys, everyone's doing such amazing stuff. This has been such a fun night. I don't ever get to have this much fun in my cabin in the hills here. And even though I'm in Costa Rica, I still vote. I have an absentee ballot for my former home in Nashville, Tennessee. So I'm trying to keep the good vibes happening in Tennessee from here. So I think it's really important, this democracy, and at least taking the best we can. And if we don't vote, we don't really have much say in it all. So we have to try. And I think it's important for us to like really look at the issues that we believe in and really vote our values. So look at the candidates who are in line with the things that we believe in and vote for those things. So I'm going to sing a song that I wrote during the last election. And hopefully it's something that's a little bit relatable to everybody. So please sing along with me, everybody. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not white. I'm not black. No, I'm not Indian. I'm not American. I'm not a terrorist. I'm a human. I'm not a city boy. I'm not a country man. Not suburban, working 3 jobs to pay the rent. I'm not a billionaire. I'm not a cyborg. I'm a human. I was born on the earth, third rock from the sun, a member of the Milky Way. I need water and food, shelter and love, though I wouldn't mind some chocolate in a hot tub today. I'm not a woman, I'm not a man, I'm not gay, I'm not straight, I'm not bi, I'm not trans. I like to snuggle, don't like trouble. I'm a human. Whistle with me, everybody. No one can hear you. Very nice. I was born on the earth, third rock from the sun, a member of the Milky Way, so they say. I need water and food, shelter and love, though I wouldn't mind a massage and a mojito today. Sounds nice, doesn't it? I'm not a Christian, I'm not a Jew. I believe to do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. But I'm not a Muslim, and I'm not a Hindu. I'm a human. Yes, I know I'm complex. I'm just a hot mess. I'm a human. Sing it with me, everybody. Come on. I'm a human. I want to hear you singing from wherever you are. I'm a human. I'm a human. I'm a human.
That was really fun.
Thanks,
Yes,
Scott.
we are spiritual beings having a very human experience. And it's I just love the universality of what you shared. It was beautiful. It was really fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. And hey, if people are interested in my music, you can find me at matthewhuman.com and you can follow me. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Matthew. This is great. I love the music. All right. We are now going to go to another wisdom jewel. And this is Miguel Elliott. Welcome, Miguel. He's also known as Sir Cobalot. He's the owner of the natural building company called Living Earth Structures. He leads workshops and does projects in schools, has numerous instructional videos on earthen building. He believes that earthen building, that's spelled earth and then E-N, building has a strong role to play in helping to build community and offering opportunities for healing and connection. Miguel, thank you so much. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you. Good to be here. Yeah, I do definitely believe that this is a very important thing that we need to be discussing. You know, the role that natural building has to play in helping to create the new paradigm is very important. I think that we can all work together to try to get the some of the building codes and everything changed and adopted to allow us to build the way that we are intended to build. So, you know, I do earthen structures. I build structures out of adobe, sand, clay, straw. This is my book here. It's called Accomplishments. I don't know if you can see that there. And yeah, those are like the little huts that I'm doing. And so, you know, they're very, very affordable to do. It's just, they're using all recycled materials. And, you know, so I try to bring people together that don't have any building experience to participate in the building process. And in that process, they learn a skill that's very empowering, and they're able to connect with other people that are also working on building it. And so it really it creates these really beautiful connections with people. That's fantastic to see. And so, you know, I've done a lot of traveling, and I spent a lot of time down in South America. And there was a committee that down in Argentina that developed a kind of a coalition to submit information about natural building and listed all the benefits of natural building to the local municipality. And then they were able to then pass legislation to affect policy, you know, to encourage people to use earth and locally sourced materials to build their houses if they're able to. And so that's like kind of an example of, you know, sacred activism, where people were, you know, kind of put their efforts together and collaborated amongst themselves and worked to present this to the local government, and then the policy was changed. And so that's something that I think that there needs to be a movement created where people can come together and work on, you know, creating some alternative building solutions using materials that are non-toxic and good for the body, and they're very affordable and fire resilient, well insulated, and to build very gently and in harmony with the earth, and have a whole lot of fun in the process. And so my website is livingearthstructures.com. I'll put that in the chat room. And so, you know, I encourage, if I have a lot of videos on my website, if people want to learn the process of doing some of these earthen structures. Oh, thanks. You know, you can look you know, I hope you are inspired to get into natural building, because I think it has a very important role to play in the new paradigm. And what I like to say is, it's time to build Kabbalah. I say in Babylon, they babble and they don't get anything done, but in Kabbalah, we cob and we get things done. Thanks.
Thank you, Miguel. And thank you so much for all your work over so many years now of beautifying our Sonoma County and Northern California with all your structures. It's truly amazing, and your mission.
Thank
it's
you.
so amazing that all of us have our special calling, and you've really followed yours and keep growing with it. So thank you.
Thanks a lot.
And we have a few more things coming up, so hang in with us. A few more special things we're going to share. And the next one is another woman who's totally amazing with her tireless, passionate, very sacred activists. She actually travels around the world a major portion of the year to give her spiritual transmissions. She's totally guided by spirit and totally lives on the edge of the new paradigm of what's coming through. And she's actually going to be a keynote speaker with us in our next show next week. And this is the beautiful Mirabai Devi.
Thank you so much, Deborah.
I just wanted to say thank you to Debra, to Ken, and to Scott for producing this amazing show for all of us. It's been mind-blowing. And also the artists and speakers and teachers, Marianne, Andrew, John Robbins, Larissa, and all of you really, too many to mention names. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It was really powerful. And I felt your transmissions, and more than me feeling your transmissions, the world felt your transmissions. And sacred activism is about being of service, and being of service with every breath, and bringing spirit into action through our human form, which is a vessel. We're a hollow pipe, we're a hollow reed, and we're here to allow spirit to act through us. And through spirit's guidance and direction and navigation, we're able to bring about global change in our world, whether that's in our community or in any area of our lives. And if each one of us step up into that global service and allow spirit to act through us, we will see a very different world. So what I'd love to do is I'd love to invite you all just to, with me, to close your eyes for just a moment and meditate on your third eye point, and visualize now a beautiful blue light in the center of your third eye, and radiate that light out now to the planet, to Mother Earth, and visualize Mother Earth being filled with our gratitude, our compassion, our love, our reverence, and our respect. Visualize now humanity in the future as we move through this dark night of the soul into the global awakening of humanity. Let's visualize a new earth and a new humanity. And let this be the most positive, uplifting, blessed, holistic vision of oneness, of love, of stewardship for the earth, of loving kindness and compassion in action to one another and to the earth and to each other. And so it is, and so it will be. In service to the plan of love and light, love and light will always prevail on the earth in the end, as we stay in trust, as we stay in faith, as we stay in surrender to spirit on a moment by moment basis. Thank you. Blessings and namaste.
Namaste. Thank you for that very, very beautiful prayer. Thank you to the hundreds, maybe even thousands of people who are watching. Thank you for your prayer. Thank you. So some of us have known each other a very long time. I've known Lori Grace for 35 years, Debra for 30 years, Kenny for many years. We've all worked together. But there's still new, wonderful people coming into our world. And somebody that's fairly new that's come into my world, who's been very supportive of us, is Jay Mayer. And we're going to hear from Jay in a moment. But I want to show the second video that we've created. And for those of you who don't know, Love Coach Academy, my organization, provides 2 or 3 free online webinars every day, supporting people with better relationships, providing empathy, teaching relationship skills. And I've got about 25 love coaches that are trained by me, that are amazing coaches. Some of them have been therapists for many years. And we are very excited. We met Jay, and we are going to be collaborating more and more with them. And here's a short 1-minute video to tell you a little bit about this new birth of our form of sacred activism through Love Coach Academy, combining with Jay and his light touch. And then we'll hear from Jay.
Love Coach Academy is a collective of heart-based individuals. We have helped thousands around the world to overcome challenges, have greater relationships through understanding each other. We combine the wisdom of Marshall Rosenberg, nonviolent communication, emotional intelligence skill building, tools to change our neural pathways from reptile brain reactivity into frontal lobe responsiveness. Under the leadership of Scott Catamas and his core group of coaches, we are excited to announce our new partnership with Jay Mayer and Light Touch. We are adding his techniques to our collective tool belts. Join our upcoming free online webinars, giving you the support to thrive.
And there's Jay. Jay has been a tremendous support system to really make this show happen. If it wasn't for Jay, we wouldn't have been able to support so many nonprofit organizations. He's really been very, very generous. And Jay, tell us in your wisdom jewel, what inspires you, maybe even anything you've seen tonight? What does sacred activism mean to you?
Well, I developed this system called Light Touch. And first, I want to thank you for having me on the show. And I want to thank Debra for putting it together and Scott for all your tireless work. And, you know, Light Touch, it's something that I discovered. It's been there all along. It's within us. It's basically using our life force energy more to draw to ourselves, you know, our full potential. And, you know, we all believe, you know, there's a God inside of us. There's energy that is our life. And what I've discovered is that energy is magnetic. And this magnetic energy has principles where, you know, through touch, we can activate, you know, good fortune and healing and spiritual wellness. And, you know, my work on the planet really is to help heal relationships. I think that's one of the best things that can happen to end war on the planet, is to have more happy couples. And I'm sure that, you know, working with Scott, see, I've got this great vessel called Light Touch, light-touch.me. And we're going to integrate with the Love Coach Academy, which is training coaches. And we have these systems where people can reprogram their subconscious mind, you know, with when they go to sleep at night. And Light Touch is really a gift, you know, from the universe. And the timing is impeccable because people need to know these tools now. They need to know how to get along splendidly with your partner, or rediscover love, you know, with someone you might have been with for 18, 20 years. So, you know, ending war on the planet, that's really what this virus is all about. And people are going to be coming forth, you know, new leaders. And that really is the sacred activism, is that we change ourselves in such a way that we change the world. And I encourage people and couples to become loving couples, because every ounce of more love on the planet it's more love, and that's what we all need. And if you get enough love, you know, my goal really is 100,000 couples, you know, finding perfect love with each other. And I think that will be the 100th monkey that ends war on the planet forever. And where we're at right now, the Atlanteans were here. So we're recycling to this thing right now where, you know, we see, we're all aware and we can see what's happening. And I think we can do it. And that's our destiny.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm really excited working with you, Jay. And people can learn more. I'll put the link where you can learn more about Light Touch and also more about Love Coach Academy. And we do these free online webinars every day at 9 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the evening Pacific time, and then special shows like this one. Also, I'm going to do an hour-long interview with Jay. We're going to do it the first week of June. It actually had been scheduled for June 2nd at 6 p.m., but Marianne Williamson asked me if I would be willing to host a webinar for her that week at 6 o'clock, 5 webinars in a row. So we'll schedule it probably for 7 o'clock or 7:30 one of those evenings, and we'll work that out. But keep tuned, and we'll let you know when you could be able to get a full hour learning about Jay. And now to introduce our final wisdom jewel, turn it back over to Debra.
Yes, thank you for sticking with us. We have one more wisdom jewel, another song, and then we're going to have community connections at the end where you can come online and share your wisdom with what you've been inspired for this show or anything you want your heart to share. So stick around for that. But we're going to I want to announce this person who I see in the community tirelessly at all the eco events, all the eco conferences, putting his resources, his wisdom, his background into really important causes. Warren Linney is a co-founder of San Francisco Bay Area Climate Restoration that is placing city measures on the November 2020 ballot to tax natural gas and fund climate. Their mission is to fund the methods of removing CO2 from the air and oceans, but to build topsoil and grow trees and seaweed. So Warren, I'd love for you to share a little bit more of that wisdom and that sacred activism that motivates you and what you're up to now. Thank you.
Thank you, Debra, for a wonderful introduction, and Scott, who was one of the first people to join Climate Reality. Thank you. And Lori Grace, yes, who taught me paper ballot, hand count, and to vote for our lives, to trust our vote with that. I live in Alameda, and it's an island off the coast of Oakland. We're surrounded by water that's rising because of a warming planet. My activism with co-founding the Climate Restoration Circle springs from the urgency to fund climate restoration and ocean and land regeneration. For me, sacred activism is connecting our heart to our minds and using the hands to create even more sacred on this, our spaceship, Gaia. And I'm here to talk about gas, and I'm not full of hot air. Once upon a time, a cow walked onto a beach looking for something good to eat and came upon some seaweed, chewed it up, and lo and behold, it settled her stomach, and all that methane she was belching before was transformed into vital energy. So she became a happy cow, a sacred cow. So the moral of the story is to help the kelp and the ocean that gives us all life, and may the kelp return to our coast soon. We can't all grow seaweed, but there is something you can do to reduce the gas that's polluting our air. In almost every city on this call, we can increase the utility tax on natural gas from the big polluters by placing that tax on the November 2020 ballot. We invite you to inspire, as we do, the city councils all over California to tax CO2 and methane from natural gas and fund COVID-19 and climate emergencies. What I love about placing the natural gas tax on the ballot is that it reduces CO2 emissions, and it also funds health and climate work. So think protective gear for health workers, solar panels, fruit trees, and green jobs. So I want to thank you guys all for listening, and if you can join our campaign, I'm going to put that in the chat. And just Google Climate Restoration Circle, you'll see us. And love to have your help in getting this on the ballot, getting city councils to vote to put it on the ballot. And then we get to vote in November to have this funding for climate and health. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Warren. Thank you for the good work that you're doing. You know, I just so appreciate how many people in our community we've known for so long, and all the different projects and adventures that we've had. And like I said at the beginning of the video, We are the ones we've been waiting for. And this is the time we've been preparing for. If Sasha Rose shows up in her room, I'm gonna, oh good, she is here, okay, great. But just before Sasha plays the final song, I really want to thank more people that have donated. Thank you very much, Dane, Jan Ballard, old friend, Darlene Korb, Melissa McManus, Larry Weinberg, thank you Larry, very generous donation, Steve Lillo, Renee, that guy anonymous, or gal, Nancy, thank you everybody for your generous donations, we sure appreciate it. And again, stick around, we're going to have community connections coming up shortly, but for now, it's time for our final song for the night, Sasha Rose.
All right, I've been thinking through this whole beautiful talk about what could I possibly offer to this beautiful collective pool, and I felt really strongly about this song. It's called When It Goes Down, and it's basically about the nature of when things go down and feel really heavy. The nature of it is to go back up again. So this song is just a testament to that cycle and how everything goes up, everything will go down and come up and go down and come up. So here we go. Cause when it goes down, it's gonna come up like the sunrise again, like the sunrise again. Cause when it goes down, it's gonna come up like the sunrise again, like the sunrise again. They say if it doesn't kill you, gonna be stronger through the pain. And when your faith is tested and all you see is rain, you gotta keep believing. The sun will shine again, cause life is full of learning, and strength like diamonds shall remain. Cause when it goes down, it's gonna come up like the sunrise again, like the sunrise again. Cause when it goes down, it's gonna come up like the sunrise again, like the sunrise again. And when there's no one left to turn to, nowhere left to hide, there's only one way, and that's through to the other side. There's something worth pursuing. You keep your dreams within your sight. The promise of a new day resides within each night. Cause when it goes down, it's gonna come up like the sunrise again, like the sunrise again. Cause when it goes down, it's gonna come up like the sunrise again, like the sunrise again. And when there's nowhere left to run to, gravity pulling you down, you gotta reach in further. There's salvation in the sound of one soul going deeper, learning lessons so profound. Pain has been a teacher, and this new wisdom I resound. Cause when it goes down, it's gonna come up like the sunrise again, like the sunrise again. Cause when it goes down, it's gonna come up like the sunrise again, like the sunrise again. Cause when it goes down, it's gonna come up like the sunrise again, like the sunrise again. Uh-oh, my baby's woken up. Because when she goes down, she's gonna wake up. That is just the inevitableness of all things. Hey, Papa, you want to bring her out? Maybe I could introduce you to my little lady.
Absolutely, the next generation.
Hey, bring her on out.
A reminder while we're waiting for Sasha to bring out her baby that we're going to have community connection time. So if you want to share for a minute, a little bit about what has inspired you tonight, please send me a message in the chat box and I'll promote you to panelist. And there is, what's the name of this little one?
This is Zamora Rose.
Zamora Rose.
With a Z. And she's
Zamora.
a little distraught because she just woke up, but
Yeah, well, it's pretty late for her.
I know. But you know
Oh
what?
God.
The trick? A booby
God.
always does the trick. This is the thing.
Yeah, nothing like booby.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you all for listening, and I appreciate every single one of the speakers, and it's just been so inspiring. So that's all
God
for
bless
her.
you.
So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sasa.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So again, if anybody wants to come on and speak, please send me a message. And Debra, what are some of your closing thoughts?
Well, I want to invite everyone for what's going to be our last show of this season. And hopefully we're going to continue, and your donations and your support and your ideas will help us to continue. And next week, we have an amazing show again. Every week, it just goes to the next level. Our theme is going to be co-creating our vision of the new normal. So this means not buying into the collective that may be negative or less than what we can manifest together, because we are powerful manifestors. And that's what we're coming to this show to do, to reconfirm that. And we've got some amazing people. We're going to be bringing back Carolyn Mace, who was on a previous show. We want to have her back. She's amazing. We want Marcy Shminoff, who is the best-selling book, Happy for No Reason. We're also going to have JJ and Desiree Hertalk, who give incredible information of the new paradigm coming. Mirabai Devi is going to be giving us spiritual transmission again. We have the amazing Kirtan Van Wah, who plays at a lot of the yoga festivals. We're going to have Elijah Ray back, and many other great musicians and people giving wisdom jewels. So please be with us next week and help spread the word. We have a Facebook group if you'd like to share who you'd like to see for next time. And we're also going to be putting out a survey to our list on Zoom, so you can tell us what you'd like to see. But please give us the donations that help us fund this next level and coming back for you for a summer season, hopefully. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Debra. And I'm going to go to our other partner, Ken, for any last things you'd like to share, Ken.
Well, what a wonderful night. Inspirational, just reaffirms what we're doing here now. And in this time to be able to all come together, these weekly things. I mean, so many people look forward to this nowadays. It's the best thing we can do to, pass some time and grab some knowledge and feel community. It's just fantastic. So I'm just grateful that we're all can be part of it, and we're all hanging in there. A few hundred people here and there. It's amazing how many people just stay here because, where else are we going to go, right? It's great. So thanks everybody joining us next week. You did mention Deepak last time, but you didn't say this.
I know, I just went, oops. We have a very special guest.
Yeah, I mean,
Deepak is like, we confirmed today, which is Deepak Chopra. So that's
amazing, week we're going to have. That's a great way to close out a series. I'll tell you, it doesn't get much better than that, So now doing each week got better and better, and it's just amazing. So good work to everybody. Thank you, Debra and Scott. Great job.
Thank you, Kenny. All right. So I'm going to show one more video because people have been asking about light touch and what it is. And this is a video that Jay put together. I just saw it for the first time today. And it's 45 seconds long, but it is quite sweet. And it kind of helps to capture the energy of this new collaboration between Love Coach Academy and Light Touch. so much of what we do in Love Coach Academy is challenging because we're often working with people that are really struggling. So many relationships, the pressure of the pandemic, and relationships where people are cracked or trust has been hurt or damaged, it's really increasing. Whoa. Didn't mean to start that. I forgot it was on next. Anyway, it's been wonderful adding Jay's light touch to what we're doing in Love Coach Academy. Our coaches are excited about it, and there's a sweetness and an innocence to the whole light touch experience that I'm really appreciating. So thank you, Jay. And I know that we've got a few people that wanted to share a little bit. But Jay, I'm going to just give you the first chance if there's anything else you'd like to add, and then we're going to hear from Peter and Shira.
Well, because we're talking about sacred activism, I just wanted to mention that I did run for president of the United States in 1996 and for governor of California in 1994. And I'm active again with lie detector tests for Congress. And I think it's important because it is sacred activism. I'm not doing it for me. It's not that I do want notoriety so I can help others and help the world. But we deserve more choices, and it's a serious, serious issue that there's only one person, there's two people and 300 million people, so I'm not saying I'm the best of all possible selections. I'm just saying I'm better than, what we currently have going. And as a tribe, we have the power to elect our next president, whoever we want. If we all put our hearts and our souls and our minds and our spirits together, we are powerful.
Great. Thank you so much, Jay. Looking forward to learning more and collaborating. All right. A longtime friend, Shira, wanted to share. Oh. Yep, Shira.
Hello, good evening. For those that are still here, thank you so much for a most incredible show on every level. And your hosting, Scott and Debra, your container. The message is just resonates with my core, and I'm so proud to be part of this community with all of you making all your different contributions. And I think for me, that's what the message was, is go deep to your core, source it with your spiritual practice, create your action, find the people you're going to do that action with, and just no bars hold. Actually, today there was another community resiliency project. We had about 700 participants, and I moderated some of that summit. And there were some beautiful examples just here in a condominium building. Someone just started going to his neighbors and saying, "Can I have your food scraps?" Created compost, and within a month they had a community garden, and all the relationships started to change. There's another urban renovation taking place again with this kind of community resiliency and sacred activism. And so let's pick our causes, use our deep spiritual practices and source that, and let's come together, because as Andrew said, now's the time. So thank you so much. I'm so happy to be part of this with all of you. And
Thank
many
you,
blessings.
Shira. You are a beloved member of our community for sure. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to go next to Peter, who, thank you for joining us. Peter, maybe everybody, when you come on, let us know where you geographically are located. And again, if we can try and keep it to a minute, that would be great. Hi, Peter.
Hello there. What a delightful experience tonight was. What a show. I live in Santa Cruz, California. And Andrew Harvey moved me tonight, as he seems to every time, that this sacred activism, this feeling that we have to connect to that sacred, to that deep spiritual place, this spiritual being having a human experience. And my contribution to the cause is a 26-year quest to launch a new peace sign, or an addition to the old peace sign. And I have come up with an idea that's called the unity sign. It takes the old peace sign that used to stand for V for victory, but now it stands for we used to think we were separate. But we are remembering, the fingers come together as they come to your heart. We are remembering that we're one. And when we remember that, and when we come from that sacred place, we can act in unity and create peace on the planet. So the unity sign is 2 to 1 to heart, heart to 1 to 2, peace in, peace out, right? Peace in my heart, peace as my art. All the cute little things we can come up with, but it narrows all down to we're all one. We're all in this together. Now's the time. We're the ones we've been waiting for. It's time, but without remembering that deep, sacred, spiritual place, we're not going to create the answers moving forward if we remain in this separation game. So I think that remembering we're one is the key bottom line, and this unity sign can help people remember that first and then remind others, and it can spread around the world. It's already starting just in the last few weeks, getting off and running. And then I'm part of World Unity Week coming up next month, and so we're gonna launch the unity sign into the world. Thank you for the moment here.
I love that. I love it. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. That's beautiful. That's awesome. I see other people are giving us the unity sign.
Put it in, though. It's got to come in and back out. Can't just stay hanging out there. It's in and back out.
Okay.
Peace in, peace out.
Peace in,
Thank you.
peace
Peace
out.
in, peace
All
out.
right.
Got to start with the
All right.
peace in part.
Okay, you're right. Thank you, Peter. That's great. Really
Thank you
beautiful.
very much.
Okay, we're going to hear from Debra Haviland.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, Debra.
You know, it is so true. We are the ones we've been waiting for, and we've all been preparing. And it's amazing to see all these friends, soul family, the ones of us that have seen each other for 4 decades, you know, at the New Living Expo and Love Coach Academy, and now Light Touch and the festivals and Health and Harmony Festival. And I think back, I knew Jay in my 20s in Santa Cruz, and we did very amazing things. We were working with a group where we honored all the different spiritual wisdoms and how they come together as one, and a lot of fasting and retreating and community service. And I remember a friend put up a billboard on the freeway: love is the answer no matter what the question. And so I'm so grateful that we're all working together, and that greater things are about to happen. And sometimes we're called to just let it all go and go where God's telling us to go next. I mean, I'm doing a major move across the country. I came from the East Coast. I'm going back to it so I can serve in whole new ways, with a lot of collaboration with some great people doing great things. So I just want to bless us all and see what can we do next that will create. You know, I was very moved by Marianne Williamson tonight. I mean, really, by every jewel of wisdom, and by Andrew Harvey, that now every moment counts and everything we do counts. So namaste. Love you all.
Thank you, Debra, and best of luck. I know you're leaving, I think, on Monday. Best blessings on your travels across the country. It's going to be quite an odyssey. It's quite an adventure to drive cross country. So blessings on your travels and blessings on your new.
And we're creating healing clinics in Florida and doing some amazing things. So, you know, people need us now.
Yeah,
Bless all the health practitioners.
Absolutely. Thank you. Krista Michaels, if you turn on your camera, you're going to be next. And I think you're going to be our last person, unless I'll take one last look to see if anybody else wants to be brought up. But there you are. Hang on a second, Christy. I lost you there for a moment. There you are. Okay.
Hi, Scott. And thank you
Christy.
so much. Again, it's awesome, everything that you guys do. I do want to give a shout out about Warren, because I think he really underplayed the dramatic and powerful and brilliant idea that he and Sheila Jacobs have been working on implementing, that allows us, the little citizen in our little cities, in our little counties, to really take a positive action, because many counties and cities have climate change projects in plan. And I know Scott and you and Lori and all of us have been working for years on trying to get climate change projects. We want the government to start doing them, and they haven't been doing them, and we're frustrated, like, why aren't you getting going doing them? And so this is a ballot measure that we put on the ballot that says tax the corporations, lower our tax 1% and tax their corporations, to give yourself the funding to implement the plans that are already on the books, that are already in place, ready to be activated by our little city that, or our little county that knows what to do, because we have only 8 years left before we all all hell breaks loose, right? So we can, as the people, go to our congressmen, our council door, and knock on the door and say, listen, they have all the scripts in place. They have everything all worked out. You can just get on the climate, his website, and you'll find out all the information about how to approach your council, how to approach your civic leaders, and say, please put this on the ballot. The council members vote starting June, July, and August for what goes on the ballot, so that we can say, fund this now. We don't have time to wait another 2 years for the next ballot. We need you to fund it. And here's how you can fund it. The wind, the solar, the everything that you already know needs to happen in our community, and how to make our community. I'm in Roanoke Park, somebody else is somewhere else. Every person can go to their council and say, please fund it. And they have it all worked out for you. So I just wanted to underscore what a brilliant idea that Warren has come up with. He's working with the scientists. They know they have the solutions. They know how to make the change. And so let's support them. So thank you for showcasing their work.
Thank you very much, Christy. That was very, very passionate. And thank you for your passion and all that you do to support our world. I'm really appreciating what I just saw Gigi write in the chat box. And yeah, we do intend to find ways to keep this going for sure. I'm not sure if the person named Denise wanted to talk or not. I have brought you into the chat box, or into the panelist, I should say. If you're wanting to say something, I need for you to turn your camera on, and then I'll put the spotlight on you.
Hi.
There you are.
Not so used to be on camera, but here. Okay. Hi, everybody. Hi, Scott. This is amazing. What you're doing is so fantastic. I can't tell you how appreciative I am for this. It's just incredible. And I'm so moved and love everyone's contributions. Everyone's. If I would single out for tonight, it would be Marianne, who I relate to with her putting love at the center of politics and all that she stands for, putting values in everything that we do. And everything, everyone, and everything moves me. But I want to single out also Alicia, because I've been thinking of the absurdity of where we're going. Sorry, I'll speak closer, in so many directions. And that I agree with her that the feminine values, if you want to say, there's also the values of Lao Tzu, of Confucius, of Jesus, of Buddhism, Buddha, of compassion, mutuality, cooperation, rather than competition and domination. Rather than solving our problems by, historically, we've always moved from one area to another. One group has gone and conquered and raped women of another group to spread the DNA and deal with resources. Well, now we need to transcend that and have a whole world that's based on, I don't know if circularity is the right word, but like recycling, the idea that we bring resources around from one to the other, that we have a UN that is truly representative, because it's not right now, that we have everything based on power sharing, so that the idea of climate change is a challenge, but let's deal with the countries that are oil dependent for their economies. Let's make the mutual good our good, and work ways that internationally we can support one another. Let's support Brazil. Brazil can't carry the weight of the Amazon forest for the whole world, which it does. That's not right. We need to support Brazil, because that Amazon forest is for all of us.
Thank you.
I'm thinking of universal profit sharing, universal fair trade, not voluntary. That would be law, that we have to have fair trade. We say in America, and I'm speaking as an American, we say we stand for the happiness of all, the well-being of all. Well, what does that mean? We can't have exploitive corporations. exploiting other peoples and other territories and taking resources. We have to have laws that stop all of that. And that doesn't mean that some people think we have to go completely local and do more trade, but I think we can. But if we do it with reciprocity, mutuality, and laws, and a mutual vision that all of us and throughout the world share.
Great. Thank you very much, Denise. Thank you for your passion and all those, so many things you said that are important. Fair trade, Brazil, thank you. God bless you for your share.
My website is forabeautifulworld.com. I haven't put up most of this out there, but I'm beginning to more and more. So I'll be working on that.
Great. Please put that in the chat box also. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Scott. I love you. I love what you're doing. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Debra. I love you. Love everybody. Thank you so much. This is wonderful.
Thank you. All right, we have time for one last 1 minute, and that's going to be with Leah, our dear friend. Hi, Leah.
1 minute, and I love that. Thanks, Debra, Scott, Andrew Harvey was amazing, Marianne Williamson. I enjoyed it all. But I just have this wonderful feeling whenever I'm on these Zooms, these Saturday night Zooms. It's like we're all doing a Reiki session together. It's really profound. We all know that we're all watching and witnessing together. And, you know, we're messaging each other, friends who are all on this. I just felt like I was being held in this beautiful heart-based bowl of Reiki magic, you know?
Beautiful.
I could just feel all of you. So thank you.
God bless you. Thank you, Leah. We love you very much. You're an important part of our family. All right, to say goodbye, I'm going to say goodbye now, and then I'm going to turn it over to Debra for final words.
Yeah, Leah, what you're saying is really true. This is just not looking us into the computer. We are connecting on the unified field now in our hearts, in our spirit, in our wisdom, and we're building that powerful container of positive affirmations and love. This is what it is about. You see all these incredible activists, it just opens your heart with so much love and inspires you to give love back to our community. So yes, we are all deeply connected. And I just want to affirm that I love you all. We love each other. Love is the bottom line. So thank you so much for participating, for joining, for supporting this, and for sharing the love. Thank you.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.